Good morning and welcome in to another wonderful SPL day. We've got some exciting games to look forward to, including Splyce versus eUnited to start us off, and then later on today we get to see if Renegades continue on the roll that they've been on so far up against Dignitas. Joining me though on the desk today, he needs a really good introduction here because you might not know him. Once upon a time he used to play jungle, then he moved to the mid lane, then didn't do very well at the mid lane and went to the solo lane, then went back towards the mid lane, then also ended up in the duo lane for a little while. He's not played support though, he's only done 4 of the 5. It's the one and only World Champion Coach, Zeros.
What an introduction.
You like it?
I don't even remember all that, so...
I've had to cast you for so many years, it was kind of easy to do.
Yeah.
Why haven't you played support before? That's my issue now.
Too easy, I think. I'm too good at the game, and I feel like there's not enough mechanics in the support role for me.
Is that the way you get back on a roster next year, then?
I guess so, yeah, maybe.
Just steal Trix's spot or something?
Good idea, actually.
There we go. We're thinking on the same page. Joined as always by Zeros then this week, and let's have a look at the standings of the SPL and see how things look here today. Rival, top of the shop. All 6 teams qualified direct to Horus Expo. Rival through to Splyce. SK to Space Station, though. They're going to have to play in the placement stage. Zeros, looking at the standings, is anything that really surprised you with how the season's gone?
I mean, the only surprise to me is probably that Renegades isn't first seed, because how good they've been looking, not winning MSI and all that. But I mean, I'm not sure, but maybe they can still get first seed. But yeah, that's the biggest thing for me, I think.
Bit of an outside chance, if not possible, I don't think, for Renegades to get that top seed. But I think that's because of the start of the year, the first phase, it didn't work out as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, these standings, guys, go through the entirety of the year. So it's not just the second phase, even though Zeros was just saying there, Renegades have done well. Let's have a look at the schedule, though, here for this week and see exactly what we've got to look forward to today and tomorrow. Splyce up against eUnited going to start things off today, followed by Dig versus Renegades. And tomorrow, it's Dig and eUnited and Obey Alliance versus LG. What's your set to watch here, Zeros? You only could watch one.
Oh, that's a hard question, man. I think it has to be Splyce versus United this first game.
Yeah.
Probably. I think that is the best game. But I'm not sure, man. All of the games are so good. Even like if you can say the worst game, Obey Alliance against Luminosity, that's a fuck. He
got so comfortable being with me on the set. He's already. You don't swear on air.
Even then, even that game is gonna be really good. Obey coming out of a win of Dig.
Yeah.
LG beating Rival.
Completely agree. It's going to be a very, very good week for you, and hopefully we'll get less cuss words going on. Road to Worlds, however, let's have a look at how these teams are trying to get there. As we said, 6 teams will qualify directly to the World Championships. Phase 2 is where all that happens. The bottom 4 teams of the SPL go towards the placement week, which will involve the best teams from around the minor league and the console scene too, to find the last 2 representatives from the different regions and platforms to take place at the World Championships. How do you feel about Worlds overall, Zeros? It's that one time a year where everyone kind of just celebrates SMITE, right?
I mean, I kind of wish I was there to play it, you know, but I'm happy for all the teams that make it.
Now you get to come and cast, right?
Yeah, I guess. That's always something, I suppose.
You could be more excited about that. You don't like the ship?
Nah, it's okay.
It's okay?
It's alright over here.
Let's have a look at the 2 teams then we're going on today. Splyce, eUnited. Now, these 2 teams on paper, Splyce have only lost once so far this phase up against Renegades in week number 3. But eUnited on your screen, 2 losses so far. One, funny enough, was against LG back in week 3 at the same time as Renegades beat Splyce. But they also took a loss to Rival. However, both their losses, Zeros, have gone 5 games.
Yeah.
So even if they lose today, do you think we'll see 5 games?
Probably, I guess. BigMan has been tweeting a lot about how well they've been doing in scrims this past 3 weeks. So, I mean, they should be doing good, I guess.
Hang on. How much do you value in scrims? Because we hear that word a lot said by the pros, right? As a pro yourself, and I'm still going to call you that just so you know, it might make me feel better. But the whole situation with scrims, does it really relate to games? Because a lot of players that go, hey, we're doing really well in scrims, and then I watch them get fluffed in the game.
In my case, at least, I feel like going into any tournaments, in pretty much any team I've been on, we've been dominating scrims before tournaments.
Right.
And we never really... I mean, I've been winning like 1 or 2 lands maybe, but like most of the times doing well in scrims usually translates very poorly into actual games. So
losing more scrims actually means
good.
You win more?
Yeah, I think so.
Good to see. Well,
pretty
Benji
sure that's how it is.
Was on your screen there, and there's Benji in the SoloOrTroll. How do you feel about his performance this year?
Benji, I think he's been an absolute beast.
Really?
This whole, yeah. I think I still have him as one of the absolute top solo laners in SPL, if not the best solo laner. I don't know.
He's been around for a few years now as well, through a couple of teams that have made it towards the finals, all the way back to the the old days of what was the name of the team now? Off the top of my head, I can't even think of it. Enemy, the old Enemy days. He's been around for a long time, but now Splyce. This is the team to watch. A lot of roster changes from the World Championship team that started this year. Cyclone and Aror, the only two remaining members of that squad. But now they're joined by Screammmmm, Venenu, and SoloOrTroll. Which of those three, if you had to identify one, is the one to watch here?
I think SoloOrTroll, for sure. Because like he's new in the SPL. He's also like one of them guys that had been like just dominating ranked, playing solo, like pretty much beating everyone, SPL players, anything. And he's been doing well in SPL as well, right? So like it's fun to see him go up against such a good solo lane as a Benji and see how he does in this matchup. Definitely
going to be a big one then in the solo lane. Do you reckon junglers could make an influence in that lane today? We don't normally see too much jungle focus towards solo lane outside of blue.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you never know. Like I don't know how these teams play now. Like most teams have been playing around the 3-on-3 in mid, but maybe some of these teams played more around the solo lane. We'll just have to see.
We will have to see as this one goes on. And like you said, SoloOrTroll newer to the league, fought hard and long through the mine league to get to this sort of opportunity. And I think that's the one thing about the youth coming through, these younger players who are hungry again. It's not like the players that currently play aren't hungry. It's just there's a little bit more of an edge to their play style.
Yeah, sure. Like you've been playing for so many years that you become kind of complacent. I think that's the case for a lot of players. And then you have these new SML players that really want to prove themselves, right? And have the mechanics and talent for it. So see what they can do.
Well, let's find out what happens in picks and bans. eUnited going to be the first pick option here. What am I expecting? Isis, set bans, Persephone, right? Amaterasu. They're the 4 now. Is it more than 4 that have to be banned, do you feel?
I don't know. I mean, Herc, obviously, against Aror. That's like, I feel like that's a must ban in every scenario, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, there's like the 4 as well. People hasn't played that much 4 lately, last week at least.
That's true.
I still think he's so good, so.
Well, you saw some of the replays there from SoloOrTroll. He does pick it up to the solo lane on occasion, so Splyce may look for that. eUnited, though, going to focus a lot towards Aror. Kumbhakana and Hercules first off. Kronos from Splyce, though. Something's getting through here.
Yeah, it must be. Kronos banner is like pretty obvious against emilitoo as well. Like,
for sure.
Been the best Kronos player in the world for such a long time, so why wouldn't you take it away?
Makes a lot of sense. If you win World Championships with it, make sure you ban it. eUnited will ban away the Amaterasu, so Set and Persephone both available here. Which one's worse to deal with?
I think Persephone, but then again, I think in a 5-game set, okay, they ban it, but it would be interesting to see someone let it through and see if the enemy team, see if they can actually play it or not.
It's a good point. I think there's a lot of talk about that, of which pros have been practicing this or just keeping it on the cooldown of banning it consistently. Splyce not going to show it through though, but that does allow Set to be available. eUnited draft that, but I am interested who's going to take that. I don't see that as a Benji god that much.
I kind of do. I feel I feel like Benji, if he gets going early game, like he had so many King Arthur performances, but he's just been like 1v4ing, 1v3ing, just dominating in the early game. So I definitely think there's going to be Benji on the set.
Well, you brought up the Thor, and the Thor will be drafted for Splyce here. That could potentially go to SoloOrTroll. But we do know Screammmmm has a very good Thor in the jungle as well that he's shown through the years that he's been performing. We spoke a little bit off air, me and you, Zeros, about the fact that, these two teams, that there's about 8 players that have been to a finals at the World Championships before.
That's crazy. And 6 players that have won the World Championship at different times. That's pretty amazing,
What do you think about the Olorun pick?
I love the Olorun pick, but he has some hard counters, like this Morrigan. There might be like a Vamana or something here, like, But like, if you don't counterpick Olorun, I think he's so good. But then again, there's so many counters to him, so we'll see if they will pick some counterpicks there.
The biggest one we've seen is Morrigan and Vamana for the double big baby option. At the moment, though, eUnited going to take the Morrigan and Anhur. This is a very kill-heavy composition eUnited have put on paper already.
Yeah.
It kind of like gives Splyce a bit of a window here in the counterban phase to ban away some of these tanks that could be the frontlining for them.
Yeah, I think eUnited should definitely, or Splyce rather, should definitely look to ban away Vamana and possibly like any counterpicks to Olorun, I think. Because Morrigan, we've seen, I think PK did it last week with the double Vamana. They won that game so early, so they didn't really get to utilize it, but like, it's so good.
Barracuda's been having nightmares about what's been going on when he played Olorun. Trust me, he knows for sure. Horus locked in for Aror then. We've seen him go to this when he's not had the opportunity to pick up that Hercules that gets banned away. So we'll see how this performs as Splyce now. Going to take away Athena from Callus. No real surprises to see that one.
I reckon Splyce gonna try to get rid of the Xing Tian as well. Something he's also been playing lately, and Xing Tian also really good against Olorun, so I expect that to be the next ban for Splyce.
That's a good point. I'm just a little bit worried about if his Jing 10, it could only really be Jing 10 in the solo lane for Splyce. We're not seeing too much of that as of late, these low pressure Guardians.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I mean, I don't
think against Set will be okay.
Yeah, it might be good against Set actually, when I think about it. But
Ares banned by Splyce then, just to make sure that Callus doesn't get two of his big priority picks. But I don't think you can really ban out Callus in that role.
No, he has so many. Like, I feel like every god he plays, his god pool isn't the biggest of all the supports, I think, but every god he plays, I feel like he knows exactly how to play them, like the Athena, the Ares, the Xing Tian. Yeah, he plays them so well. So.
Speaking of Fafnir, could you see it for eUnited here with this Set and Anhur? It does allow, you know, that little bit of extra damage with the Coerce. So is that going to be useful for clearing at all? Objective-wise?
Sure, because I don't think Fafnir is that good against Olorun, so I would probably rather see something. Yeah, Xing Tian.
There we go.
Yeah, so good.
So there's that Jing 10. Reason we're seeing that picked up is the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, City Immune ultimate during Olorun's ultimate. But also his leap, his third ability there, it does take you out of combat for a second or two twice.
Exactly. If you use the Xing Tian leap in Olorun now, that's like a 2 or 3 second Aegis every time you jump. Because it's not a dash anymore, right? It's a leap now, which you're untargetable unless they have a Willig something. But
well, no Willig's been looked at here. Jing 10 Ratatoskr, so Ratatoskr more than likely for Ice in the jungle here. And Splyce now hovering over this Thoth as their final pick. Seems a bit magical heavy though with a Thoth.
Yeah, don't think it will be Thoth, but if it is Thoth, it's probably a SoloOrTroll on the Thoth, right? I'm not sure if he played it in SPL already. I know he loves to play it in rank. As a Pele.
Pele will be locked in as well, so a bit of fire with fire to an extent. No pun intended with the volcano situation, but Set up against Pele. How you feeling about the compositions? Who do you think's won this draft?
I think eUnited probably, because they have Morrigan and Xing Tian. They have like kind of good counter against the Olorun, but I'm not 100% sure. I think if Splyce get the late game, I think they have it.
I really look at what Splyce have drafted here as well. That this Horus pickup for Aror, I think they're going to have to play a lot around that. They're going to the frontline engage of Thor and Pele, and then have Horus to dive in with them. If they don't have someone engage for them, this Horus could struggle to get those windows.
Yeah, for sure. Also, what I really like about the Splyce composition here is like Olorun does really well with Demonic Grip, right? And Merlin does really good with Spirit of Magus. Yeah. That combination of items is so good for killing objectives and killing tanks. So that's, I just wonder, like, is the Olorun gonna go mid or is the Merlin? That's
a question we want to ask, because one thing with the Olorun mid, he's not got much pressure in that early game. Merlin doesn't either, but he's got a little bit more effective clear.
Yeah. Olorun's pressure in mid is actually not that bad, because you go Hunter's Blessing, he hits pretty hard with auto attacks. His issue is so immobile, right? So easy to collapse on, especially for a Blink Xing Tian. A Ratatoskr in jungle that could possibly go Acorn, full item before Assassin's Blessing, a lot of pressure. So it definitely be hard for the Olorun if he goes mid there.
Especially if the Ratatoskr gets level 5 a little bit earlier, he'll have that ultimate up, available, and be ganking onto that Olorun if it's in the mid lane then. Splyce up against eUnited. Who is going to take game 1? We'll find out as we get it over to the casters.
Going up against Splyce, and this should be a big set.
It definitely should be. This is a set to watch, because eUnited is a team that can look elite at times. They've looked solid, I would say. Not elite every single moment. That one loss that they had earlier on in this phase up against LG made me question the true potential out of eUnited, but I think this is a true test for them now that they're up against Splyce, a team that's been one to be reckoned with.
I think so too, man, and this eUnited team has got to show us that they can be that strong team more consistently. I feel like sometimes we see them lose games they shouldn't and win games they shouldn't. Show us that consistent, high-level play from them is what I want to see.
Definitely going to be the case, and they have a very interesting draft up against Splyce. I like this Morrigan Ratatoskr combination. Double through the Cosmos is so good, and the early jungle pressure, we've seen so many teams adapt to the no blessing start. Ratatoskr, I think, for the likes of iceicebaby, is going to be going that no blessing start, trying to finish off that Acorn, get as much early pressure as possible.
I think so too, man. There's no reason why this Ratatoskr can't do it in the way that some of these other junglers can, like the Thanatos that comes to mind. And we were wondering if there would be a Vamana to try and deal with this Olorun, but I think Double Rat does that job pretty well too, right? I mean, it's going to be difficult to get away from multiple through the Cosmos and that kind of pressure for sure.
Totally agree with you. And with the draft from Splyce, it really feels all-in-ish, very aggressive outside of Aror on the Horus. And I just don't see how they protect CycloneSpin on the Olorun. Maybe assist him with some early lane ganks, potentially, against emilitoo that is playing the Morrigan, a very easy target to gank.
They've left CycloneSpin to fend to his own devices before, so perhaps that will be the call here. But they've got a chance to be aggressive with this composition. Maybe not pre-level 5, but between this Thor, who can do some pretty cheeky rotations with the ultimate, then Screammmmm on this Pele and Aror on the Horus, they certainly do have some early boxing potential, just maybe not as much as a rat on her.
I like this play coming from iceicebaby, but I like the play from Aror even better. The hunter gets hunted, actually. It's kind of funny to see a squirrel getting chased by an eagle, but that's kind of what we're seeing now. iceicebaby looking for the blink.
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to CycloneSpin. Aror was behind him the whole time, and yet still CycloneSpin caught off guard. That's first blood for emilitoo, and he's level 2. That means he's got the stun and some turnaround damage. Hard to kill Aror in this spot. But man, I can't believe CycloneSpin wouldn't have backed up sooner.
He didn't respect that kind of potential play. He's thinking to himself like, okay, if I get stunned, if I get slowed, I'll just walk out of the action. But the problem with going a mage in the long lane is you don't have the protections, the health. If you're going for this build of Assassin's Blessing boots, you have no health or protections to really deal with that kind of pressure. So good recognition when there's a mage versus a mage in the long lane. The first jungler to show their face there usually allows you that early pressure.
It's just so surprising. Perhaps he didn't think with Aror there that Ice would commit in Auror's face for that kill, and he still did and gets away with it too. So CycloneSpin does hold on to the beads. He'll have those if he needs them here, and has now reached level 2. But Aurora's stuck here with him to try and split this wave because of Ice's pressure. Meanwhile, Kha'Lus is in mid along with Scream.
It almost feels stubborn for iceicebaby to do that play. It's like, okay, I got spotted, but you know what? I'm not going to change my strategy at all. We're going to hard commit, and it works out with that first blood. And they don't really even give up that much on the right side of the map either. Kha'Lus gets his own speed buff. BigManTingz on the red, invading the purple, and now they're getting a purple for emilitoo. So if anything, they come out on top pretty well there. Even eUnited getting the first totem of coup.
Yeah, maybe it's iceicebaby recognizing he has to play around. This acorn starts to into the Assassin's Blessing. Even if Auror's there, you know, you have to go try and make a big play around it. And it looks like it worked out here for him. Looking around some of the rest of these builds, things are fairly standard. Venenu not going with a blessing to start things off, right into the shoes of focus. I suppose that's a bit different, but you don't always have to take that mate's blessing.
Yeah, I think like if you're not looking for poke potential and you're just clearing the wave anyway and gonna back on many power spikes such as the Lost Artifact, then you don't need that MP5. Every 10% mana you're missing, you get 2 MP5. So I think he'll be fine in clearing by himself. That extra power is gonna help you clear as opposed to the extra ability damage you get from that blessing.
Mobility's not going to hurt either, as Venenu perhaps foreseeing that he's going to need to be relevant a little bit sooner than normal into this Anhur Ratatoskr combination. Plus Kha'Lus on the Xing Chen, I don't want to undersell him as well. Can certainly be active early in this one. Scream goes into Laria boots. That's something we've been seeing a little bit more of, especially Pele, who can use the movement speed well. But for the most part, everything else looks fairly standard as Ice goes in.
Oh, and the slow from the skewer as well. Nowhere for SoloOrTroll to go after he invested the poke with a hammer.
And that's a great start for eUnited. Both of these side lanes now have taken a spill, and the kills have gone to both their direct oppositions, despite it having been iceicebaby who facilitated both of them. Now, in their direct lane matchup, they're at a disadvantage.
And that's a huge thing that iceicebaby gets the assists over the kills, because he can still be aggressive in the mid lane, as Ratatoskr tends to be, and maybe look for a dive play where he could trade out his own life for, let's say, 2 or 3 Splyce members and not have that extra bounty to give back to Splyce to come back.
And I do want to say that eUnited used their first pick really well, I feel like, totally. They banned everything that felt like against Aror. The Ama, you can make the case, I suppose, that's a support ban, but probably a little bit more solo. But because of that, Splyce couldn't ban everything that was strong. They do end up banning away the Persephone and the Isis, but that's why this set for Benji makes it through, because of the way eUnited used their first pick bans. They mitigated Aror and got a priority pick on one of their best players.
I'm kind of surprised, though, that eUnited banned away the Kumbhakarna instead of the Horus.
Me too, yeah.
Because so far in Splyce's Phase 2 history, Aurora's played 10 Hercules games and 7 Horus games. This is technically his 8th game right now. So, and only 1 Kumbhakarna game in all of Phase 2. But either way, when you're trying to figure out your own strategy of double assassins, Morrigan in the backline, Kha'Lus playing the Shinten, trying to be aggressive, I guess they would rather deal with a Horus instead of the obnoxious Kumbhakarna in the back.
That's a good point. That disruption might have really been a a big barrier for them to try and make their way through, so instead they'd rather deal with this Horus. It's a double blink start for Splyce. They've got the blink on Scream and Aror. Same for iceicebaby and Khalees. And we've seen a bit of players moving away from this, I feel like, picking up more beads, worried about all that crowd control, not always trying to make the big aggressive play. But this time, both of these teams have thought that's the right way to go, and it has really worked out for Ice so far.
And I can see even more pressure onto this side lanes now that Ratatoskr is past that level 5 marker. The global pressure is going to start to make an impact. If SoloOrTroll continues to look for poke, without his hammer, he's going to be in a bad spot.
emilitoo goes aggressive. Desert Fury allows him to keep moving even inside the sanctified field. He's quite low, and Scream finds him with a volcanic lightning, but in comes iceicebaby. He's got an ultimate of his own. That makes it 1-for-1, jungle for Hunter.
Aror can't really chase that down any further, so a good trade-out. If you could ever sacrifice your own life for a jungler, then the enemy doesn't have that much control of the map. Sure, you slow down your own farm, but I think that the experience per minute for emilitoo was favored anyway with that first blood onto CycloneSpin.
Oh, Ice, he's here lurking. Oh, but he's not going to come in.
No, I think he is. He's just waiting for that right timing.
He is waiting for his window, has the blink available, and I don't think CycloneSpin knows. He baits out the beads by being patient with it, but doesn't get a chance to turn it around. The knock-up from Aror is that much better, and CycloneSpin finds the kill.
What a play there.
That's
that
nuts.
Damage turnaround coming through from CycloneSpin. He pops the steroid, but he never actually drops the meteors. He was still building up those stacks the whole time. If iceicebaby was a little more patient, waits 5 seconds for that steroid to run out, then he doesn't have to worry about those meteors for the turnaround play.
Now Aror being active here on the BigManTingz. That's a lot of damage all coming from a support, and Venenu is on his way, flicker in aggressively, but all those avoid abilities are off the mark. He could have covered that whole range, but instead he kind of cheated towards the escape path.
Yeah, he definitely expected the red buff escape instead of down into the purple side. So good recognition from Big Man that has been feeling very safe on this Anhur, a very comfort pick. And despite how many different gods he's played thus far in Phase 2, 12 different gods in 23 games, he's played Anhur the most out of them all.
And he's looked really good on it. I think it's a big part of why eUnited have had that high end that you were talking about towards the beginning of this game is that BigManTingz really elevated his play. And a lot of the times that's around this Anhur, as Venenu has turned this into a cursed orb for the mid lane. We've seen this a bit more lately, right? And a lot of the times people leave it at cursed orb, I feel like. Sometimes. Come back to Doom Orb a little bit later on. You don't necessarily have to upgrade it right away.
The 3% movement speed is still a good little touch. It's a very cost-effective item. emilitoo's playing aggressive, but he doesn't know Scream's right here.
He got baited in. That's an easy kill for Scream every single time. emilitoo tries to play aggressive there and gets punished summarily for it on the left-hand side.
I mean, we saw how iceicebaby made that play, and then the turnaround potential of all that damage. I'm surprised he even goes for that 1v1.
iceicebaby looking to make a play, but the flicker's there from Venenu. And that's really all she wrote for that one. iceicebaby uses an ultimate. Venenu uses a 13-second cooldown.
Normally, when you're investing a global pressure ultimate, such as through the Cosmos, it's off of some intel. And there was no intel for Venenu's flicker to be down or Auror's ultimate to be down. Like, everything was available. So kind of a forced engagement on the right side camp. So I like the attempt, though, because you're not really risking too much. It's not as though you're diving the tier 1 tower. So no harm, no foul from iceicebaby. That's been making those plays a part of every single kill from eUnited.
He's had a really active early game here so far, but so has Scream. These two junglers have a different mentality about how to build, though. It's the Blackthorn Hammer from iceicebaby, some CDR, some health that you definitely need. Whereas Scream has gone to the Shifter's Shield after this Talaria boots. That's a lot of upfront power that can kind of make out for missing the Warrior tab, I feel like.
70 power to start off, and that's really good because it synergizes very well with the Pele passive when you dip under a certain health threshold. Not only are you getting the Shifter Shield passive, but you're also getting that Pele passive for the lifesteal, so your effective health becomes even higher once you get that extra 35 protections.
It's an item that certainly seems to work for her. 3 members of Splyce are here on the right, and they're trying to see if Benji will take the bait to come up and contest a blue buff, but he won't this time. Splyce just defend their own buff. They make it back out. But on the left side, it's eUnited who are aggressive in the jungle.
Realizing there was 3 members on the right, but they still confirmed their own red buff. A good play from Venenu. Flickers into safety. Good recognition from eUnited. Benji has kill potential in the 1v1. So if no one was there from Splyce, not only does Benji kill SoloOrTroll, maybe he'll bully him out instead, but he'll get away the blue buff, he'll clear the wave, and then SoloOrTroll will fall back in the experience. So that's why they needed to put that much pressure on the right side. eUnited, though, couldn't unfortunately respond with that red buff steal.
It's big for Venenu. Despite that, what I think might have been a dropped kill into BigManTingz a little bit earlier, Ven's had a pretty good game here so far. And I think Ven gets overlooked because this Splyce roster is stacked with talent. SoloOrTroll has really improved and kind of come into his own. And Ven doesn't get a lot of credit sometimes as Tingz has a very nice impale there to shut down Auror's aggression. I
like that idea, though, but Big Man a little too accurate. He's very comfortable with this Anhur. I totally agree with you about Venenu. He definitely gets overlooked. This is a world champion, Season 4 MVP, mind you. So you gotta make sure you don't sleep on him because he's gonna punish you.
He did go ahead and finish off the Doom where we were talking about how you can keep it at the Cursed Orb and still be fine, but he upgraded. It's a ton of power on the front, 145, and you're still getting all that movement speed. The mana doesn't hurt either. This is an item I think we might start to see even more of.
It's a little expensive to start CycloneSpin now.
Oh my goodness.
Just casually walks away. No beats for iceicebaby. He's not level 12 quite yet. Callus wasn't in range to use that Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, which is unfortunate because CycloneSpin's beads were still on cooldown.
They couldn't quite get to him, but they did at least force the ultimate out. They've got a very narrow 30-second window to try and play with, but CycloneSpin should be okay for that duration, so they probably won't be able to punish him too badly on the back of that. As Benji has largely, it felt like, gotten the better of SoloOrTroll here so far. 5-2 on the totems as well, so this set's working.
And with all that physical protection from SOT, he should be fine in terms of absorbing the poke damage. The problem here for SoloOrTroll is he doesn't have sustain. No Gladiator Shield. Thor doesn't have any built-in sustain to that kit, so Benji can continue to be a bully. It might take him a couple of waves to successfully get SoloOrTroll under.
He might be getting ganked too. iceicebaby's here on the right-hand side, and that forces SOT to the sky. So Anvil of Dawn now on cooldown. He might come back in because Scream's rotated this one as well, but uses the hammer to get back to tower.
Don't expect a tower dive quite yet out of Benji. Blue buff not due to respawn either. I like the idea that SoloOrTroll had with all those rotations, but couldn't make it happen yet.
Benji and iceice continuing to play aggressive. They want to use this level 12 set. Instead, they don't find much, so Benji will just take the pack. He has teleport. He'll be right back in the lane.
And probably finishing off that Blackthorn's hammer. Good power spike with beads as that second relic. So he has 20% CDR now, a good amount of health and physical power to maybe look for this tower dive if SoloOrTroll gets low enough.
Well, speaking of cooldown, look how much emilitoo has built at this point, as Doug's right. That's also certainly worth talking about. But emilitoo's gone all in on this CDR Mage's Blessing cooldown boots and the Kronos' pendant. I imagine he'll be looking to make some rotations soon.
Probably going to be the case. The more you can get your stealth off in these team fights, the more just beads you can burn, just good positioning is important as well. It's a pseudo defense by having all that CDR because that's your only escape is your stealth.
Well, I warmed you up by talking about emilitoo's build. Now we must come over and talk about this Messengers from Venenu on its way towards being that Bumba's Mask. I don't know if he's going to upgrade this one. The Bumba's takes a lot of his damage away, and he's not like a Morrigan who can deal with it. He's building... Is this a movement speed build that's starting to come out now?
It feels that way, right? Because it's a 1,200 gold item for 10... If it only had 10% movement speed and 10% CDR, I think people would still buy this item, like, without any of the power.
It's certainly a strong one. There's a lot of members on the right-hand side. They stop SOT from making it to the hammer. That forces the Anvil of Dawn defensively. But will he reconsider coming back in? No, he is full-on retreating. Scream has to use the beads as well. They do defend blue, but it cost them a lot.
Even Venenu using beads, so 3 purification beads in 2 different areas of the map, and now eUnited wanted to take advantage of that. emilitoo going to make this rotation in mid and group up for the tier 1 tower.
That's a good sequence for eUnited. You're so right there, Tully. And they're going to move over to Gold Fury on the back of that because they got a lot. They got the ulti from SOT, beads from all 3 of them as well, SOT, Scream, and Venenu. So this would be not a bad fight to force at all. But one problem is that despite this early start from Emil and iceice, CycloneSpin's 2 levels ahead, level 15 on this Olorun, the highest in the game. They might not want to fight into that.
Yeah, emilitoo giving back the gift, unfortunately, with that aggressive play earlier on. So not ideal, especially a player such as CycloneSpin that will punish you. He knows the ways to farm very effectively. Being a former solo laner, he's always going to be thinking 2 steps ahead of like when he can squeeze in a purple buff between waves, the back camps between the waves, or maybe even aggressive invade on your side of the map.
Looks like now both junglers have the Shifter Shield as iceice does pick it up, but it's a Soul Eater next for Scream. This is old school Pele, the way that she likes to play. She relies so much on that lifesteal passive you just talked about. Now she'll even have some extra protections during that because of the Shifters to really try and stick around in these fights. And who in particular is Scream going to be looking for? I got to imagine he's trying to get back there to emilitoo.
It has to be, right? Like, if you know his stealth is not there any longer, he's the easiest target you can get. You could try to go onto Big Man, but he has so many different forms to self-peel. The knockback, the disperse, up and down to knock you back again, the slow from the obelisk. You're going to get CC immunity from the Desert Fury. So I think emilitoo is the easiest target, but then again, he has the Aegis up, which could absorb some of the DPS, but that Volcanic Lightning lasts quite a long time to burn through it after.
Well, I'm checking my watch, and it looks like it's Gold Fury time, or at the very least, a fight around it. emilitoo in the stealth, expecting Splyce to step forward, but won't find much there. United don't feel comfortable starting it. They're trying to see if they can bait Splyce back in around this stealth, but they're not biting.
No, not quite yet. Scream not in range either to get slow there. iceicebaby looking for the stun. Keep in mind, the beats are still on cooldown for 3 Splyce members.
Scream is very low. He has to use the ultimate defensively to get away. Taken to the sky here is SOT, so both our solo laners are nearby to impact, but SoloOrTroll comes in first. He doesn't find much, so iceicebaby knocks him up. That's the Desert Fury used over the wall, but a big ultimate from CycloneSpin has everyone trapped inside the Sanctified Field. emilitoo has to use the Aegis, but there is no escape. Venenu claims the scalp.
I'm surprised emilitoo goes into the Olorun transformation there instead of going for like Callus onto the Xing. There were so many bees being used. SoloOrTroll got stunned with his hammer on cooldown, with Anvil of Dawn already landing. He should have been already transferred by a secondary Xing.
And now it's Gold Fury pulled half HP. eUnited certainly still around to try and confirm this and strip it away. It'll be up to Venenu and CycloneSpin to try and out-confirm, but they're not even going to commit to the objective here. Too many members of eUnited around. But Toli, how does that last fight go so wrong? Maybe they committed a bit too much on the SOT?
They did, and the thing was, it was the wrong transformation from emilitoo going onto the Olorun, and that Sanctified Field from CycloneSpin was so effective. A good wall stun from SOT really dissects the teamfight into 2 different areas. It was hard for them to group up onto this door, and the general rule of thumb for Morrigan transformations is you go for the tanky targets because they have high base damage anyway, so you're still going to be effective, and more importantly is you're going to be that sponge of damage so the rest of your supporting members like Big Man, like Benji, can get their DPS off.
Benji steps in aggressive, doesn't find much. It's Aror and Kalish trading blows, but Aror thinks better of it once emilitoo shows his face there. So they start to fall back. This game's still very much even, Doug. We can see the charts real quick. I mean, not even 1,000 gold. 1,500 experience in favor of Splyce is a big deal, but the gold, the little bit that it is going in eUnited's favor to give you an idea of how close this match is.
And something that I've noticed from eUnited in their Phase 2 history is the fact that they are a momentum-driven team. When they get off to these early leads, they end the game generally with a 2-to-1 kill-to-death ratio. When they start struggling and losing these games, then they go less than 1 kills to a 1 death ratio.
I wonder how much of that is because of iceice, because he takes gamble plays. I mean, think about that ultimate he did onto Venenu by the mid-Harpies on the right-hand side. They had no information there, but they went for it. SOT still has the ultimate and hammer, so he's okay to get out here, but no, Benji wants to keep this chase going and dive underneath the tier 1. I imagine he wants to try and force the ultimate at the very least, but Benji's going to keep up the chase while Gold Fury goes down for eUnited. We couldn't see the text, but I have to imagine they got it, as now Aror quite low. He falls back towards CycloneSpin.
18 minutes in, they get the objective. Benji diving all the way down to the tier 2 tower. An absolute mad lad there with this 2-level lead from the set, able to really be that lane bully. Normally, at this point, it's hard to be a bully because they got the items, they got the health to deal with it, but this is the power of the first pick set.
It certainly is. Man, Benji keeps SoloOrTroll zoned out, and look how far behind he is. Level 16 for SOT as opposed to 19 for Benji. That's going to be so difficult to deal with for Splyce later on. And in the 4v4 on the left-hand side, without that disparity, where they actually have the CycloneSpin experience advantage, they got caught napping on the Gold Fury. They weren't even there for the defense, and eUnited sneak it away from them.
Which is uncharacteristic for Splyce to be dropping objectives, because they're normally the ones making those kinds of risky plays. Instead, we talked about it on the desk. Xeris made a great point saying how Venenu could be building into Spear of Magus, so that way CycloneSpin can burn these objectives, but that's not the case for Venenu. He's going for a different movement speed style build, Divine Ruin. So delaying that Spear of Magus hurts CycloneSpin's potential to burn through the Gold Furies.
I wonder if Benji's lead lead is affecting him because they have to build this anti-heal for the set, who's in some trouble. The CC chain is there, and that's a big head to take. Splyce cut Benji down and send him back to base for his first spill. And they can, at the very least, I imagine, start up a pyro. But no, they're going to start pushing down the tier 1 tower and right.
What a rotation from CycloneSpin, by the way, to rotate over this right side of the map at 19 minutes. Now, granted, it becomes easier when you don't have to worry about a Goal Fury since it was already stripped away. But the only way Splyce get that kill is with CycloneSpin's rotation because of the Sanctified Field. If he survives for 3 seconds longer, he's reunited with his teammates to bail him out.
Well, this is not bad. Venenu was able to mitigate the damage in mid, and the tier 2 tower stolen by Splyce in right. Ultimate up in the air is iceicebaby, and he is going to keep going back in for a little bit of damage, but he'll retreat. Splyce made this a tier 2 for tier 1 trade, plus the pick on the Benji.
Yeah, a good trade for Splyce after losing the Goal Fury, still keeping the game very clean. So now we have to think about who has the better late game composition. And just at a first glance, I kind of want to give it to Splyce, actually.
I think so too, man. I mean, they've got a Merlin and Olorun in the late game. Maybe this Horus is a bit of a question mark as opposed to the Xing from Hollis. But CycloneSpin's in trouble in mid. He has the Aegis, that immunes a lot of the damage, but he is a sitting duck. iceicebaby takes him down. Emilitoo transforms, gets the Aegis off, and leaps in place, but Scream makes it a 1-for-1 trade, and the Horus ultimate brings everyone right to the backline. Scream with a double.
The healing from this Pele is just too much to handle, and Benji a little bit too late to the party, coming back from his respawn, as Splyce did lose CycloneSpin very early, but at least get 2 in response.
And 2 big ones too, the carries, Tings and emilitoo take a spill in trade for CycloneSpin. This is going to give Venenu some much needed time to try and farm back up as well, and eventually Benji is going to hit that experience cap at 20, and SOT can start closing that gap as well. That's not a bad fight for Splyce at all.
I'm surprised eUnited lost even 2 to begin with, because they didn't invest that much towards killing CycloneSpin. Great way for Big Man to start things off with a good stun onto CycloneSpin, rotating around that corner, but then the dash from iceicebaby meant it was go time. They had to confirm that kill. Callus, or rather emilitoo and Big Man just couldn't get out of a sticky situation.
And what about the transformation from emilitoo? Because again, it was curious. He turned to the Anhur this time, and then the leap straight up, straight back down, and he died immediately. I mean, I don't know if turning into Xing Chen saves him there, but...
It might have, actually. Now, the thing is, about the Anhur play, this is better than going for Olorun in terms of self-peel, right? For all those reasons I listed a couple minutes ago. But you're still safer going for Xing Chen with all these defensive items.
Fire Giant being looked at by Splyce. Frenzy popped, and they had the Sanctified Field down. That's a 2-man knockup, but Splyce confirmed the objective, and now iceicebaby has given his life away to the Wolves. Benji has to disengage over the wall as well, and Splyce, now the ones playing with the momentum, have the FG and an open path to a Phoenix because of that tier 2 they got earlier.
Did you see that stun from SoloOrTroll at the last second, right on top of Benji, that was looking for the skewer from a safe distance? That basically stopped the synergy between Iceice and Benji. Iceice was looking for the Through the Cosmos knock-up effect to give Benji that small window to steal away this Fire Giant objective, and this is the Splyce team that we know is making those risky calls. It was 18 minutes of a Goal Fury call from eUnited, but a 22-minute Fire Giant.
Khepri goes in, but he gets caught by CC immediately, and he's done. emilitoo transforms into the Olorun to drop the Sanctified Field. It does trap SoloOrTroll, but that's not a whole lot of value out of that Changeling ultimate at all. Splyce now in a pretty good spot to re-engage into this right side Phoenix.
Normally I would criticize why take a fight outside of a Phoenix, but because we didn't see CycloneSpin in that fight, that made sense.
SoloOrTroll goes right to the back line. They want Benji, but CycloneSpin's low from iceicebaby's pressure, but now it's emilitoo once again the target with no Changeling ultimate to speak of, and the right side Phoenix already at half.
Yeah, it's going to be good healing now coming through from Aror, from CycloneSpin, the Fire Giant buff. Splyce can go for round 2 very easily. Benji's poke on the skewer could change that a little bit, but without emilitoo's DPS, it's going to be harder.
Oh, they might go to mid Phoenix on this. We've seen them use this strategy before, but no, it's right to the back line, and that means CycloneSpin can start whacking away at the right side Phoenix. iceicebaby slows it down, but they grab it, and now 2 pulled back in, but Aror has the CC and is able to dash back out. Not a bad fight for Splyce.
iceicebaby was delaying that Phoenix for a moment. Now going to have to worry about Scream on the Pele. Gets off a really good stun. I think he has the dart to get away, but Splyce got what they came for. A good to the skies ultimate from Aror. You mentioned how it could have switched to the middle Phoenix, but the problem is there's still 2 towers to go through. You couldn't be able to do that one. So instead, taking the fight towards eUnited, creating that much of a buffer. You put your frontliners behind the Phoenix, your backliners don't have the minion aggro, or don't have Phoenix aggro rather, and they're safe to clear that Phoenix.
There's a great call. There's a lot of ways to use that Horus ultimate, I feel like, in those situations. Aror, one of the best at it, is now Oni Fury being looked at by Splyce. And eUnited on their way to try and contest, but that's a blink from Aror to go zone away emilitoo. They grab the Oni Fury. They might even want this fight as SOT comes in, and Venenu, along with that ultimate from Scream, melts emilitoo.
I didn't even get a chance to see what he transformed into with how fast he fell. And this Morrigan pick, unfortunately, after the first blood, did not work out for eUnited. Splyce don't have that big of a lead, but it's about to become a big one with these towers and maybe even a middle Phoenix.
And you're so right to say that it wasn't even that big of a lead. You barely eUnited opened the window, barely, and Splyce threw it open, man, around that Fire Giant play with that pick onto Benji and getting the tier 2, and now it's time to threaten the mid-Phoenix. Aurora's taken to the sky, and he'll just land right in range. iceicebaby is in the air as well. He goes towards Venenu in the backline. Benji there to follow up. Sanctified Field coming out as well to slow down the push, and now Benji isolated on the backside. CycloneSpin gets him.
And this is a great zoning from SOT because he's keeping big man at bay. Don't have to worry about these Anhur basic attacks, the abilities as well. Splyce doing such a good job of grouping up as a unit and protecting their back line. Can we look at the healing done? Because between Aror and CycloneSpin, I'm curious, yes, a lot for these 2 characters.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. These aren't top tier healers either, so you don't expect big hell numbers. But in 26 minutes, that is really not bad. Aror pops the Frenzy, and SoloOrTroll is in the sky. But the left side Phoenix has already been burned down. They didn't even need to fight.
That's right, and that's funny because they went in with their Fire Giant buff for 5 more seconds remaining, and they needed 1 minion to get there. They got it with the Frenzy. Nowhere that eUnited can react to with Benji still being dead. It was eUnited with a slight advantage early game, but they couldn't find a way to really blow it wide open. Their first Goal Fury was at 18 minutes. It needed to find a way to do it a little bit sooner, but because of emilitoo's aggression, they lost that pressure that emilitoo created for him at the beginning of the game.
I do think emilitoo was kind of the hindrance here in this game, man. I just don't know if the Morrigan pick was the right one for him in this spot. iceicebaby came over, gave him an early lead against this Olorun, and he had a hard time picking his spots. I don't know if the transformations were perfect either.
I don't mind the Morrigan pick. I just don't think emilitoo played it to its best capabilities, right? Like, being that aggressive in 1v1 when you don't have rotations is very questionable in this day and age of Season 6 competitive SMITE.
Man, Venenu really means it with the movement speed, even picking up the speed buff. He's got Doom Orb, the Messenger's Mask, and the speed buff Ethereal Staff to round it out. And he's been playing well this game, 2-0-6 top on his team and player damage as well. Splyce have made really great shot calls, and Ben's been there executing for them all game.
It has been pretty to watch Venenu on this Merlin. Left unchecked. They killed CycloneSpin early, but they left Venenu unchecked, and I think that was the goal between picking these double magical gods, not even having that much physical range. It's only Scream and SoloOrTroll, 2 frontliners on that physical category, but with the Void Shield from SoloOrTroll, that assists Scream's DPS just a smidge.
I can't believe Scream doesn't have more damage, though. Look at his build, the Heartseeker into the Erendite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's why I think emilitoo popped the second he did that Morrigan ultimate. It was really Scream's damage off that big-time ultimate of the Volcanic Lightning right in his face, so this could potentially be really scary for eUnited as we group up around this next FG.
Yeah, with Scream having red buff, he's well over that 200 power.
Aror has been stunned as he goes in first. Benji and Emil have made their way to the back line. There's the Sanctified Field. Benji gets CycloneSpin. He's going to keep going, but he does end up falling to Venenu. That makes it 2-for-1 in favor of Splyce, but CycloneSpin, an important target to get.
Oh, good beats from SoloOrTroll, but he's going to try to use that ultimate. He hammers away from the Whirlwind Fury.
And now BigManTingz is in some trouble. He's been stunned, and Scream cuts him down. That just leaves iceicebaby on the Rat and Khepri on the Xing Chen to try and defend. And look at Splyce, relentless as they head towards the right side. Phoenix SOT teleports in. They should be able to burn this easy.
The minions, I think, did a good number on eUnited.
They might be going to end this when you're right.
Splyce is going to win this, not even 30 minutes in.
Frenzy popped. It's just Khepri here. iceicebaby is fighting Venenu in the jungle. That fight doesn't matter at all. You got to be at the Titan room where Splyce take game one.
Splyce never were deterred from their early deficit. Losing CycloneSpin at level 1/2 was a mistake, but then since then, they were very clean with their groupings, with their rotation, their team composition of the Horus, and also their secondary healer was solid on the Olorun.
Just a great game there from Splyce, man. And eUnited, I think there were a couple of things they dropped in that early to mid game. They weren't establishing enough pressure. There was the one ultra from iceicebaby where he goes in and doesn't really find much comes to mind, and some of emilitoo's transformations. They had a lot of early pressure, but they couldn't quite convert it.
Yeah, and if I'm eUnited, I'm thinking about how we can maintain our lead after we establish it to begin with, because, yeah, like you mentioned, iceicebaby, he gets a kill in the long lane, in the short lane as well. Benji was doing a good job of zoning SOT, had a 3-level lead. He was 19 versus SOT 16, but then CycloneSpin rotates over, shuts him down.
That was a huge
get
kill,
lane pressure to get both Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower.
Benji never got to use that lead either. Great point there, totally. Game 2, though, will be up in just a few minutes.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the SMITE Pro League.
From Atlanta, the players are here, the stage is set. Let's get down for esports!
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
Look, HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
If that's second place, I can't wait to see what first place is.
It is HRX.
Welcome back to the SMITE Pro League. Game 1 is already over and done with. eUnited up against Splyce, and Game 1 goes the way of Splyce. Joining me in the desk to break it down is going to be the one and only Zeros. Zeros, there's things to talk about with these compositions. I want to talk first, I guess, about the Merlin build in the mid lane that we saw coming through here. Doomorb into Messenger's Mask, and then he even got the speed buff as the game went on.
Yeah.
What is this strategy, and why does you think this works?
I kind of like it, and I kind of dislike it at the same time. He did start full boots as well, at level 1
start,
as well,
yeah.
which is worth mentioning, which I guess kind of makes sense in this meta. But yeah, the rank 2 Boombas, it's nice early game. You get the movement speed from Doomorb and Boombas, like he's really mobile, gets him really safe, but I feel like he didn't get Spear of Magus at all this game, which I think is kind of weird when you have a magical ADC, because it's so much damage. Like, it's so good on Merlin alone.
Yeah.
Like, but now he has a Merlin, Olorun as well that can make use of it. So, kind of weird. Not the worst build, I think, but I definitely don't think that's optimal build.
Where did this game go wrong for eUnited? Because at the start of the game, it looked semi-even. There was a bit of scrapping everywhere. iceicebaby got off to a good start, finding some good pressure. But then it kind of fell apart for eUnited.
Yeah, I feel like eUnited were off to the start where I feel like they really shine in when Iceice and Kalas gets ahead early game and they can run the game. I feel like they do it so well. And they did, like, I think Iceice got 2 kills, right?
Yeah.
Like he got a, here we go, the first blood. Then he gets a gank on the
solo lane,
a SoloOrTroll later as well. But I think it starts turning because he tries to gank Cyclone later, and like they fail, they don't get the kill, they get Cyclone speeds, but then he dies for it, and I feel like after that they kind of lost momentum a bit.
Game started to just fall apart from them, and the early pressure we saw from the Morrigan, you saw emilitoo was still keeping that same level of pressure, but didn't really get success. Yeah. You did mention his build, that you were a bit surprised by seeing the Kronos pendant pick up there?
Yeah, I didn't like emilitoo's build on Morrigan at all. I just think Do Morbi is a core on Morrigan now, because I feel like since the Boomba's mass nerf, you need movement speed in some other item, and I think Doom Orb is perfect for that. Kronos Pendant is nice for the CDR, you can ult a lot, but it's like movement speed on Morrigan when you want to initiate, and that's what you want to do on that character, right? But like you just can't do it without movement speed, so...
Well, you mentioned movement speed and Screenplay in the Pele this game, a ton of movement speed in this character alone. But his build as it went on, we saw the Heartseeker come into play and his explosion of emilitoo a couple of times here. Surprised by Emil's up down there. That's not a replay he'd like to see again.
Yeah, so much damage coming out from the Pele though. But yeah, as you said, emilitoo's transforming into Anhur when you have a Pele next to you. I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, bit of a rough situation. Maybe if I could just self-peel it away. But at the end of the day, Splyce took game one comfortably overall. I will say Aror's play of Horus there, another god that it's very tricky to ban out Aror. His Hercules, his Kumbhakana, now this Horus is in there too, causing problems.
Yeah, so much early pressure. As you said, you can't ban away all the early pressure support. There's so many. There's Hercules, there's Sercat, there's Horus, and I mean, if you're gonna waste 3 bans on Aror, like you're gonna leave something like of the top priority OP pick like Pressferon or whatever up. So yeah.
Now you're one game down here, eUnited do get the decision of whether they want first pick or second pick. If you were eUnited, where would you be leaning here?
Probably first pick, I guess, because it's easier to. They can take away. You can ban comfortable picks for Splyce on first pick, and you can also make sure to get a strong one in return. While if the second pick, they kind of forced to ban Aror's picks, and they're also
forced to ban.
At the risk of giving Splyce like an Amaterasu or Pressferon or something. So
that's a good way of looking at it. Let's go into picks and bans and then see how these two play. Will it be eUnited with the first pick option? It will. Ready? Right there, zeros. Sometimes I do think, though, if you go second pick, there's a chance you could just ban their gods and go, well, they're going to get 1 priority pick, but then we can get 2 in response if we leave everything up?
That's such a high risk to do right now, though, because I feel like the top picks, like Isis and Persephone, so good. I don't think, even if you get 2 good picks in return, I don't think it's worth giving up that 1 strong pick.
One of those 2 mages, yeah. Okay, Hercules and Isis banned out so far. So we take a little closer look at the keyboard. There's Benji on your screen. Played the set last game. I think he had an okay performance on it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team just couldn't really rally round as the game went on. The Thor did start to become an issue. You're not going to adjust, though, and take away the Horus.
That's good. That's another of his... Thing is... I feel like no matter what the ban against Aror, he's gonna get something that's good early game that can impact the game a lot early mid game. So we'll see, but I don't think it's enough.
It's funny because I also think in my head there's also that Fenrir in his back pocket as well, which he pulled out in the early days of his support career, and one of the first players to do so and find great success with it. Set banned out by eUnited though here. They want to make sure that they're not going to have to first pick it themselves because Splyce left that up the last time.
I like the first set because they're probably comfortable first picking set, but then I think Splyce will just pick Olorun early again then, and that removes the it's harder to pick Vamana then, because if you have a Vamana you want him in the solo lane. So I think first picking set, now they get Amaterasu. Great first pick.
But Olorun's still on the table though.
Yeah, true, but Amaterasu, when you think about it, should be good against Olorun too, right?
Yeah.
CC immune out, so much damage.
Yeah, it's the length of that CC immune that Amaterasu brings too, just survives for so long. Splyce going to go back towards the Thor. Still flexible. We do see SoloOrTroll play it more than we do see Scream play it, but Scream will go to it if he needs to. Olorun now locked in again for CycloneSpin. No real surprises with Splyce's draft so far.
Just Olorun, just one of the best, if not the best late game character, honestly. If he gets through the early game, he even was behind last game, but he made it back, he climbed back, and it's just impossible to win team fights against him unless you have these hard counters.
Okay, eUnited might be going a little bit more dive focused here with this Khepri pickup for Callus this game. Picked up his support early on. You saw the focus from Splyce in the counterban phase of game 1, really trying to pressure out some of Callus's picks. And now they're going to take up this Thoth now. More than likely for the duo lane is where we see Thoth more often now.
Yeah, I think it definitely. emilitoo has been playing a lot of Thoth lately as well, so probably for emilitoo guaranteed. Not sure if Thoth wins that matchup against Olorun that hard, so... And then if it gets to mid-late game, I think Olorun's just gonna do so much more than Thoth, but...
When you talk about winning the matchup, by the way, are you talking about just in terms of pure raw wave clear and control of the lane?
Yeah, I mean just winning where you force him back, when you can get to the point where you can start zoning him, or you have kill pressure and you can start invading purple buffs and stuff. I don't think Thoth can do this in the matchup.
We'll see if we can see what happens with this then. Merlin drafted once again for Splyce. Really just a run back from Splyce so far. No real reason to have to change anything. Yeah,
I mean, as you said, no reason to change anything. It worked out so great last game. Did struggle a little bit early game, but if they have a better early game. Now they can ban away the Rat and the early game pressure picks from iceicebaby here as well. So
You talk about the early pressure picks from iceicebaby. Anhur taken out by Splyce first of all. I wonder if we will see a Ratatoskr banned towards Iceice. I think he had a very good game in the last one.
yeah, I would assume so. But maybe, I mean, there's other picks right now like Thanatos, I think, have seen a rise because
point.
early game matters so much. So maybe they think like if we ban Rat, he's going to get another strong early game. So they might just ignore it. We'll see.
We'll see if Splyce can read that situation a little bit better there. eUnited going to ban away the combo corner here. Another one of Aror's go-tos. So there's 3 of his top gods taken out of the card. I do know Fenrir is on that list, and he's very good in the early game too. Not necessarily going to see that though with this composition. Jing 10, once again, could be pretty potent here.
Yeah, for sure. Good against Olorun. Then, yeah, I guess now they have Amaterasu as well. So now they have 2 good characters that can dive the Olorun. Last game they only had 1. They could have 2 if emilitoo would Xing Tian transform on Morrigan.
Yeah.
He never did that, but like now they have if they pick Xing Tian, they'll have 2 strong picks against Olorun. So probably better for eUnited this time around.
We'll find out if eUnited recognize that and look to ban it themselves just in case they see Aror head that direction. They've got a bit of time to think about this one because we've still got a couple more picks to come. Still not confirmed on whether Splyce will be taking Thor to the solo lane just yet. Do you know the Amaterasu matchup into that at all?
I have no idea. But I would assume I think SoloOrTroll has played a lot more Thor than Scream has. So.
Yeah.
But it's still a flex for sure. But I think probably more likely for SoloOrTroll to play it.
Pele taken out by eUnited there, recognizing that, well, Scream was definitely having a field day of getting kills on that Pele the first time round. So that's the real adjustment we can see from eUnited here. They take away the Horus, they take away the Pele, and they force Splyce to go a different direction. The Guan Yu.
That's a weird pick. I wonder where that one will go.
We see jungle more than anything
Probably
else.
jungle, right?
Yeah, I mean, the CCMU Normie, probably a pretty good one against Olorun, thinking about it that way. Jormungandr for eUnited, though. That could be now Amaterasu
That must
there.
be Amaterasu jungle, I'm pretty sure. We were talking about it last week a little bit. I haven't seen it yet, but we're talking about how strong she is at level 1. Should be good in jungle.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be Khepri in the jungle, that's for sure.
You never know.
All right, I mean, we can start playing. We're okay. Ho Yi, the final pick here, more than likely going over to mid laner BigManTingz there. And now Splyce need to round out the composition. Guan Yu could still technically be in the solo lane and Thor in the jungle as it stands. This pick, though, from Splyce will give the game away a little bit more. I think that's Guan Yu support, you know, and I think that's going to be Achilles in the jungle.
That's a good question. I have no idea. I feel like Achilles probably makes more sense as a support. I don't really like it. Last game I liked Splyce draft a lot more because they had a lot more peel for the backline. I feel like they have very limited peel for the Olorun and Merlin now.
I agree. They've got a bit more sustain. Well, not a bit more. The same amount of sustain with a Guan Yu heal. But there is that execute from Achilles against the Khepri, which I do want to touch on. I think that is a thing that eUnited may have slipped on there.
True. I don't know. I think eUnited has the way better draft this game than they did last time. And now they have the Jorm to dive the Olorun, and they have the Amaterasu. Now they have 2 characters that's really good into it. So I think eUnited's draft looks a lot better this game. And I think Splyce draft on paper looks super weird to me. I don't like it that much. So I definitely give this one to eUnited.
A bit of experimentation going on with Splyce then with the last couple of picks here. I will say this Thoth could be a big setup with what you were talking about, you know, with the Amaterasu and the Yorm diving in. If that field is used by CycloneSpin on that Olorun defensively, you're going to have that long-range final judgment to just shoot it straight down mid.
That's the problem though. Thoth's abilities, when they enter Olorun out,
they slow down.
They go real slow. So
it's a bit tricky around it. Okay, well, we'll find out if eUnited can bounce back in game number 2. Finch and Tolly are standing by.
Certainly are in demand as we move into game number 2. eUnited with a better draft this time, according to the desk, but you never know what Splyce are going to do. Aror taking the Guan Yu support.
Of course Zeus is going to say that about eUnited's draft, right? There's a Jormungandr and a Thoth in the same team. Did you see his eyes light up when he was talking about Yorm?
Yeah, Yorm, Thoth, and Amaterasu. I don't think there's 3 gods he likes more right now.
Well, he likes to play 2 of those gods. He hates to play against the Ama, though.
That's exactly right. iceicebaby going to be taking the Amaterasu into the jungle. And Tolly, you and I were talking about this. I think there's decent potential for Ama to be played here in the jungle nowadays, and you really wanted to see this boot start.
Yes, because going for Ninja Tabi wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially if iceicebaby can go like straight into Warrior Tabi instead. Doesn't look like he's going to go for the Ninja Tabi. Wants some sustain to start things off. Aror doesn't have the same sustain as the Horus in game number 1, but opts for the Guan Yu, which actually might have more consistent sustain as the game develops.
Whoa, did someone make a mistake here? Is this a duo lane that's happening on the left-hand side?
They must not have got the memo.
If you all just became fans of Smite here in Season 6, this is what used to happen. The supports used to come over here and hang out with the hunters.
Yeah,
no lie.
Not in Season 6, though, anymore. A little bit of poke damage onto CycloneSpin, but a good improvement because he's still alive in the first wave.
That's right, yeah, he got bopped early on by iceicebaby last time on the Ratatoskr. This Hou Yi and Khepri pressuring out the Olorun and the Guan Yu. I'm actually a bit surprised by that, but their wave clear a bit better. They won't be able to steal away the purple buff, though. But it is the Hou Yi for emilitoo. I would have expected the Thoth would have been over here on the left-hand side, but they gave that to BigManTingz.
I'm a little surprised as well, because the pressure you get from a mid-hunter as opposed to a mid-mage early game is important to look for those red buff invades, but you can get that early pressure in the long lane to look for purple buff invades instead. Still level 1 is CycloneSpin and Aror, just now digging level 2, whereas emilitoo was level 2 after that previous wave, going to receive more experience when he gets back into it.
Should be able to catch right back up. Venenu is right back on that Merlin that he played in Game 1, and I imagine we'll see that same start as Aror being aggressive on emilitoo. He goes for the cool ricochet hit last time, but Scream hits a two-man stun. A nice, easy first blood, but Aror is in trouble. There's the abduct from Khepri, and iceicebaby finds one of his own.
A little bit low, needs to worry about CycloneSpin's damage, but only level 2 Olorun, no Sanctified Field to slow him down, and what a play from Scream, by the way. He uses his 3 past Callus, but he doesn't hit Callus while he dashes through him. He blinks immediately after the 3 so he can get closer to the long lane. Callus wasn't in time to stop that blink by putting him in combat. So a good first blood out of Splyce, but a good answer back as well, as the kill goes to both junglers in this case.
Not bad, but Splyce obviously get the first blood, so it does end up favoring them as Scream off to a good start here on this Achilles in the jungle. And we used to see Achilles in the jungle a bit more, but Achilles kind of fell out of favor for a little while, and we hadn't seen as much of him. He can certainly still be potent in that role.
Definitely agree. Season 5 days, it was all about like Achilles jungle, Achilles support.
Wherever you could put him, yeah.
Honestly, it didn't matter, solo lane or not. And we saw how aggressive Scream's build was in the previous game with the Pele. It's going to be
damage.
More glass cannony probably in this one. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see Oranda's mask out of him.
Benji coming for the contest in the 2v1, doesn't get it, but at the very least slows down Splyce as they make their push. So we can expect to see the Doom Orb fully from Venenu here yet again. I think he went to Divine Ruin after that last time. We'll see if he elects to go a different pen option based on the game. But BigManTingz is following suit. He's also going right into the Shoes of Focus. I wonder if this has become kind of the in-Scrim's build, and we'll start to see more of this.
It could be the case. Now, a Thoth doesn't necessarily need all that movement speed with how long range you are, so I'm surprised if that will be a Doom Orb. Now, if it's a Chronos Pendant, that would make more sense to me. But then again, you also don't need that much CDR on him either, as long as you can connect your Hieroglyphic Assault to reduce the cooldowns. So either way, I would have liked to see more penetration to start off the game instead.
iceicebaby has already finished off his Warrior Tabi, whereas Scream hasn't found the back timing yet. He got the tier 1 of this pen tree as well, so he's not quite there yet. We'll see if maybe iceicebaby has a really small window where he'll have a little bit more power to work with here than Scream, but Scream now level 5. I don't know if you really want to open that window anymore.
No, definitely not. And I like the way Scream was patient holding on to those oracles. His mechanics were being tested a little bit, and he understood even the DPS of a support, and that's very rare to see out of a jungler, but Scream, world tier.
This is a big ultimate, though, from SOT, but iceicebaby makes it right on out of there. I talked about this last game. Did the junglers pick up Blink or Beads? And on this Ama with all that movement speed, Iceice went Beads. Probably saved his life then.
Oh, absolutely. Especially once Aror hits level 5, that cavalry charge can chase down iceicebaby, but especially when you use your dazzling offensive to engage, you're going to need the beads to get on out.
Benji going with a little bit of a defensive option here in lane up against SoloOrTroll, as he has come up multiple times to kind of look for these low committal invades, or if he can grab like a small or something like that here or there, he'll take it. Benji's kind of poked his head in looking for that a couple times.
As you should, as a Jormungandr. You're very safe to just throw that spit over the wall. Good reset from Venenu on those back camps. Even denying that one little minion onto Benji could be the difference of like level 7 versus 6, where that could be the difference just to get that lane pressure. We haven't really seen too much aggression yet in the solo lane, but once Benji finishes off the pen boots I'm expecting, maybe a Stone of Binding or a Gem of Isolation, I think he'll have an easier time up against SoloOrTroll that needs to build both magical defense against his solo lane opposition and then physical defense against a potential jungle gank.
SoloOrTroll's had a hard time so far this set. Game 1, he was way behind Benji that whole time until he got a big rotation from Splyce and CycloneSpin. Aror, though, doesn't want me to talk about that. He wants to get aggressive on the Colossus, who still has the Scarab's Blessing, so he turns around towards Ice-Ice-Baby. Really doesn't end up getting much out of that ultimate at all.
No, not at all, but at least eUnited can still look for pressure with BigManTingz right alongside, getting the right side mid camps as a result, but they answer back with the left. I don't expect eUnited to get anything from Cavalry Charge being down. It is a very short cooldown, especially once you're spamming your heal on your allies, you're dashing through enemies, it resets every 2 seconds.
Aror should be back up soon. He's been abducted. Taken, perhaps, Liam Neeson style, as the void damage from Venenu is strong, and Achilles and Scream weaves in the execute off the Fatal Strike. What a nutcase. I feel like sometimes we forget how good Scream is mechanically. He's
he
insane.
Really is. Like Angelina Jolie and Wanted, honestly.
He curbed
like,
the bullet.
Yeah, we were talking about the wrong movie here, and the wrong actor.
That's right. I'm over there with Taken when it was clearly a Jolie flick this whole time. Nice moves from Scream. 2-0-0 now, and really he's done it all for Splyce here so far. And he was so big for them on the Pele in Game 1 as well. We just can't overlook this kid, man. He's so strong.
And it's Talari boots again out of him. So it's not something that he cares about physical power, right? Like, because he's going to get that power from other items. The Heartseeker, the Soul Eater potentially, we might see again. Yeah, the Erendite 65 power from that one item.
Yeah, he'll find that power later on. He really is valuing this MP5 and this movement speed that you get in this early game, and he's put it to great use. I mean, I wonder if that's factors into kind of getting a little bit around that big model to make it towards Colossus, a little bit extra movement speed.
Ice-Ice-Baby, not spotted out, looking for the steal.
And he's got some backup coming on the right-hand side. Colossus goes right to the Abduct. That takes Venenu's beads away, but they don't ever really pull the trigger, so red buff goes down for Splyce.
Splyce were prepared for it too. Like, Venenu was close by in mid, CycloneSpin was like kind of around that corner. Good wards from eUnited to really identify these rotations, but a lot of time was being wasted from Ice-Ice-Baby. Still, only level 6 on this Amaterasu, 3-way splitting, not really the place to be, and now he's going to run into a level 9 Thor.
SoloOrTroll here to say hello, but Ice-Ice-Baby does get at least those back camps. Can we see the charts real quick, Doug? Because I think experience is going to be way more interesting. And it is about 1,000 as opposed to the goal, which is virtually tied. And that's almost all in the jungle. Scream has had a really good start to this game so far.
With that pressure onto that long lane is what it really was. Even that little flicker of the wrist on that ultimate was a pretty sight to see. I says maybe it's more of a late game god anyway. That's how the theme of Amaterasu has always been.
That's a good point.
You lose lane, you win the late game. Same thing can be said about the jungle pressure.
SoloOrTroll rotating early. Last game, he didn't get to do much of these early rotations because he was under so much pressure from Benji. But this time it looks like a bit more even with this Jormungandr, even though Benji is in his jungle lurking around for farm. SOT should be able to be a bit more impactful this time.
Especially once that runic shield gets completed. 50 magical power will be stripped away from Benji. That definitely needs to be stripped away with his cost-effective penetration build. Dynasty Plate Helmet, Shoes of Magi. This is a kill kind of build that a lot of Jormungandrs like to optimize against physical warriors.
Benji still looking to play aggressive. Can't go that far in, though, so he'll stay back here for the most part. As we were just showing on those graphs, this game's still relatively even. And look at the build from these two mid laners. They're both going this Doom Orb start. It's for Tingz on the Thoth and for Venenu on this Merlin. Maybe it's just these two teams, or maybe this is something more we'll start to see from these mid laners, skipping out on mages.
145 power is still 145 power.
It's
no
good,
way
isn't
you
it?
cut it, right? So big man on the Thoth. A lot of scaling on that final judgment. And it even stacks more, by the way, past 145 power as long as you clear the wave. So expect these final judgments to hit really, really hard. An extra 20 power once you get those stacks.
I imagine that it will, and these mid mages should be able to pretty reliably keep these stacked up, even in the like later game. You know, they can head over to solo for a second and grab those waves or some camps or something like that. So they've got some options. The CycloneSpin's in some trouble. emilitoo's ultimate doesn't find much. Scream uses Fatal Strike defensively, but CycloneSpin turning around looking for more damage because they've got a big rotation in from Aror. He gets atop the Horus, and emilitoo is no longer has the dive bomb, but there's a big Scarab's Blessing from Khepri, so they just turn around and delete iceicebaby. Khepri in trouble too. That's 3 for Splyce in a row.
Big Man at least answering back onto CycloneSpin, but a curious abduct from Khepri after reviving emilitoo. He dashes into, or rather outside of the tower, putting emilitoo into more danger. And also emilitoo using beans there when he was going to get Scarab's Blessing. It just doesn't look like eUnited are playing their A game today.
I do agree that it feels like they're a bit off right now for eUnited. They did find one return kill on the back end of the CycloneSpin. Probably the best one they could have found in that entire engagement was to at least take down this Olorun. But Splyce rotated so heavily over what looked like a 3-on-2 in favor of eUnited, suddenly turned into a 4-on-3 in favor of Splyce, and they overwhelmed them.
Scream couldn't get off an effective ultimate to start off that engage. Using it defensively is not something that he wanted to do, but sometimes your hand is dealt for you and you just got to play the cards that you're dealt. But yet again, eUnited now feeling frisky on this objective.
This happened in game 1 as well, where Splyce weren't able to defend a Gold Fury. eUnited, if they're off their game in their communication, they have been on their game in terms of picking the timings for these Furies. And that was with Oracle Vision for Splyce. They knew what was going on. They had just backed already. eUnited picked such a good time.
Yeah, with Benji's rotation, the DPS meter goes even higher to burn through this raid boss of a Gold Fury. And eUnited was 7 minutes faster in this second game as opposed to the first Gold Fury they did in the last one.
Or 7 minutes, I think. 18 when they did
it was 18 minutes basically that they got it in the last one.
Stone cutting picked up here for iceicebaby now. And I was curious as to where this build for this jungle Amaterasu was going to go. Doesn't hold on to the silence, tries to catch him out using the hammer. SoloOrTroll should be fine to disengage him here. But a stone cutting Amaterasu, we've seen some more focus from her basic attacks, I feel like, lately, and this does work for her.
Some soul laners will build Berserker Shield because of that basic attack speed. You want to proc your passive 3 basic attacks. You now debuff the enemy target to get 10% damage amplification of everything. Not just yourself, but your allies as well. Now, stone cutting is a different way to amplify that because you're reducing the enemy's physical protections up to 30 total, and you're catching up to them faster with a 7% movement speed, a long-forgotten item.
I think this makes a ton of sense on Amaterasu, whether it's Aror or SoloOrTroll or Scream, whoever she picks to go on, they are going to be way squishier than they're expecting between that pass and between the stone-cutting sword. And if BigManTingz is there with a final judgment, or maybe they're slowed inside that ultimate from emilitoo, they could get blown up a lot faster than they might be used to.
And I like this Voidstone pickup here from Benji because that's going to also help Big Man do more damage from a distance. As long as Benji is next to these targets, that 20 magical protection shred will be applied, as Big Man doesn't need to be that close compared to Benji with his hieroglyphic assaults through those walls.
Splyce has done a good job defending the blue buff because Benji's been relentless looking to strip those away, but if it forces Scream to rotate over and waste a little bit of time, then it's worth it for Benji every single time. As finally these mid laners start to deviate, Venenu does go into the Messenger's Mask like in game 1, whereas BigManTingz prioritizes the Divine Ruin into this Olorun, Guan, Achilles. It just has to be done.
Movement speed is a good stat, Finch, and as a Merlin player that is relying only on a flicker, that's not that many units range of a blink, that movement speed goes a long way.
It certainly does, and he's used it well throughout this set. I don't know that he's died yet this set, because he went all of game 1 without dying, right? And then now he hasn't fallen here in this game either, so really a nice set that Venenu has had for himself as well. But he's gotten to play Merlin 2 games in a row, so you know,
Venenu,
he's feeling comfy.
The Undying.
That's right. He's earned that subtitle here at this point. As Splyce still a little bit behind in terms of the goal, but they're up 5-2 in the kills, and they still have an experience lead for Scream, 1,200. This is about the same as it was the last time we checked on this. So the state of the game has really not changed too much. But whoa, emilitoo picks up a fail knot in the long lane. We haven't seen this item nearly as much lately.
No, definitely not. But it's easy to apply with the Suns. You just drop it. You can easily land the ricochet on those slow targets, even if it is going to be against a tanky Guan, a tanky Thor that's going to be diving in the back line. It's hard to build cooldown reduction as a hunter, so this makes a lot of sense. Is emilitoo playing the Hou-Yi is a little bit of both ability-based and basic attack-based with Mark of the Golden Crow.
And I think that crit doesn't feel too bad as long as he's hitting the target that Ice is on. Because like we covered earlier, they are going to be shredding through those protections relatively easily. As long as he is synced up with where Ice is, then emilitoo should really be able to bring this crit damage through.
Definitely going to be hard to disengage from that Amaterasu. Now it's getting closer to that late game form. Level 11, almost fully built into the Divine Presence. So that 25% movement speed aura is going to go really, really far. Even building into, I think, is going to be a Relic Dagger.
I imagine so. Maybe a Wing Blade if you're worried about Merlin.
I'd rather see Relic Dagger, though, especially if you're going to go Blink. You want more opportunities to be offensive.
Aurora's been stunned by emilitoo. Khepri is here to help. That forced the Sanctified Field just from the pressure from Khepri and emilitoo. There were rotations coming, so they probably needed the help, but that's not bad for eUnited at all.
That is a big ultimate on cooldown, and guess what? Fury is respawning in less than 30 seconds. With no Sanctified Field, going to be harder for Splyce to defend.
Scream blinks in. BigManTingz was here as well. I'm not sure if he knew that, but it didn't seem to slow him down very much.
He
gets
knew.
the Aegis out from him, I believe.
Yeah, he definitely knew. He's respecting a lot of damage now. Scream is going to get stunned out, gets the beats off.
That was Final Judgment, though, from BigManTingz. It didn't find much at all. SOT's in the sky, but he can't find both with the stun, so Scream ends up falling. And now Benji's rotate into this as well. A good chance for eUnited to turn this one.
Benji kind of alone in a 1v4. I think that's the way he likes it, though, because now eUnited are going to group up and look for the engaged big man with the root off the mark, unfortunately. But regardless, after all of that, the dust settles. eUnited going to take their 5-on-4 advantage, and with no Sanctified Field, start this Gold Fury.
It's going to be so difficult to stop eUnited from grabbing this, but Auror's trying to move in. eUnited grab the Primal Fury. I don't think they can take this fight. They're going to lose a lot more on the back end. Venenu finds Khepri, but BigManTingz gets one of his own. They make it 2-for-1, but remember they lost the Fury. eUnited, the ones that come out on top.
And they need to find their way back into the set, and that's the way they do it. With the objectives and maybe with the kills, not enough damage to take out CycloneSpin. Great healing coming from him. Splyce, though, undeterred. They were behind a little bit at this stage of the game as well, about 1,000 to 2,000 gold. It didn't really stop them from making this comeback potential. Remember that once the Fury was down, CycloneSpin rotated over on this right side of the map, making it difficult for eUnited.
This time, eUnited have played well around the objectives. I mean, they did that well in game one as well. They got that Fury, and Splyce didn't even contest it. So that's been the one shining light, I would say, for eUnited, that in the early game. But they had some struggles when it came down to the late game. Splyce kind of ran over them all at once. That's what eUnited need to be trying to bolster themselves against. A couple of bad picks that suddenly spirals the game out of control.
Actually, the Toxic Blade coming from iceicebaby, wanting to get that anti-healing. Makes a lot of sense, especially when you already have the movement speed from your stone cutting, from your passive aura. You can easily apply that debuff.
I'm surprised he didn't get the ninja tab by with how basic attack focused this is. Benji's in some trouble, does not have that World Serpent ultimate, and somehow Scream finds the execute again with all those bodies around. Now Khepri sets up for the reset from Scream. He's even got a third one. Stun comes in. iceicebaby is low, goes to the dazzling offensive, execute off the mark finally, but somehow iceicebaby's still alive. BigManTingz gets the final judgment.
From a distance, that's the turnaround play, trying to catch up to iceicebaby using that heal. CycloneSpin gets the read onto Ice, but doesn't have the range with the meteors. And yet again, CycloneSpin makes a crucial rotation on the right side of the map with the Fury down on the left. Splyce, they don't get the numbers that they probably wanted. They thought that they can get iceicebaby, but still, a 2-for-1. They're about to get this Pyromancer maybe.
They are pulling in. BigManTingz the only one nearby. That was very close, but Splyce at the very least secure that objective. But that was almost the same timing as game one, where they had that collapse from an unexpected rotation in right that catches out both Khepri and Benji without the ultimate. And that's what helped SoloOrTroll catch up last game, and it's helping out here again.
And a little bit of disconnect from Benji and Khepri. That Aegis was too early. That pickup of the Relic is smart because it negates the Fatal Strike from Scream, but you have to bait out that ability with the Scarab's Blessing. So trust your support player to use that ultimate and then use your defensive Relic absorbing that, because Scream got that second kill off of it as a result of hitting the first one with that slight misplay.
Just a small thing, man, that can hurt you with a team like Splyce that forces you to make so many quick decisions all the time. Eventually, of course, one or two are going to end up coming up wrong. But look at this build from Scream. You said it would be more glass cannon than last time.
Oh, yes.
And I can't believe I doubted you. Transcendence into the Hydra's Lament on this Achilles. No wonder that final judgment flattened him. He is just here for damage.
It's the one-shot build that he loves so much. I'm expecting Bloodforge, and I'm also expecting Heartseeker. And if he can sell off those boots, if we get to the super late game, maybe Rangda's Mask.
Maybe a Rangda's. Goodness, that would be a lot of damage from him at this point. As now a fight around the Fire Giants. More than a fight, eUnited have started the objective up, and it's just really Aror and SoloOrTroll here to defend. Venenu is on his way, but this Fire Giant's incredibly low. Final Judgment is to confirm they need it, and Aror melts in all that lava. emilitoo finds the kill.
That was a clean objective. It was Splyce that were able to get this Fire Giant in the previous game. It was 22 minutes for Splyce in game number 1 as eUnited beats that record by 2 minutes.
Teleport is available for Benji if he wants to come defend this tier 2 and left, but they'd rather CycloneSpin, and he's very much dead here in this spot, abducted and stuck inside the Jormungandr ultimate. iceicebaby gets that. Suddenly eUnited found a 2 for 0. They found themselves a Fire Giant. They're all grouped up. They can make a really big push.
They definitely could. I like the fact that CycloneSpin holds on to his relics knowing he was dead to rights. Splyce making a decent attempt at splitting the map with CycloneSpin in mid, and also Scream was on the left side getting the tier 2 tower, so getting some gold in response was Splyce, but now they're up to playing defense in a 4-on-5.
This is going to be difficult for Splyce, but one they have to make work. Khalees has Aror locked down. That's the dazzling offensive from iceicebaby on cooldown as well, so some big ults forced out in favor of Splyce.
That one Hieroglyphic Assault took away SoloOrTroll's health by about 30 to 40%, and now gonna go in again.
Scream goes in as well. They bait out the ultimate and the Frenzy on eUnited, a hefty commitment, and they're still losing the fight. SoloOrTroll goes in aggressively and finds iceicebaby and walls off 3 more. Execute comes in from Scream. emilitoo low in the back line, does find SOT on the turnaround, but Ven gets him. Scream uses the Fatal Strike to get in closer. It's taking too much damage from Tingz.
Oh, but BigMan commits heavily with that final judgment by moving forward. Aror gonna stun. Venenu gets the knockback. Good Aegis as well. Venenu forced to flicker away. CycloneSpin wrapping around the backhand side, but Splyce holding on to their middle Phoenix because of the control coming through from Venenu. That pull, the gravity orb, 3 players from eUnited getting pulled, that's a sight to witness.
Man, this set is absolutely living up to the billing at this point, man. Splyce not only defend the mid Phoenix, but find a 3 for 2, and that could have been way worse, but BigManTingz makes some big plays for them on the disengage on this Thoth. 4-0-3 for him on that pick. Venenu still having a monster performance as well. Can't say enough about Scream on this Achilles. I mean, everyone's playing at such a high level right now.
And it's eUnited's responsibility to let BigMan be that sieger that they need him to be. He did a good job poking out SoloOrTroll, but then they forced it a little bit too hard instead of continuing to poke before full-on committing. They didn't respect the potential from Venenu's pull over there, and they got heavily punished. SoloOrTroll heals up, he comes back in, he dissects the team fight to prevent the escape, and that's what gave Splyce that opportunity to defend.
Big fight from SoloOrTroll too, man. I mean, this is just... it's so close between these top-end teams, and Splyce have already secured their trip towards Worlds. Both of these teams will be coming, but seeding and all that can still be improved. That's
true.
But I do want to talk a bit about this Amaterasu build. Early on, we recognized that this is an in-hand focused build, and iceicebaby is all in on that. Now the Ick Vial, I mean, that's just straight up, that's like something a hunter would build, right, at this point?
Yeah, lowering the attack speed and lowering your physical protections between the Stone Cutting and Ick Vial. It makes a little bit of sense now. If you're going to be going onto, let's say, CycloneSpin, right? You want to be able to get the true damage off. You want to limit the Olorun's DPS meters. But against anyone else, that attack speed trade doesn't really matter too much.
Right, it does reduce the power some as well, so maybe it could be useful up against Scream, but I don't know, man. This feels a little bit, it's very glass cannon-y, and I don't know if it's as much upfront burst as what Scream is getting out of this Achilles with the path that he's taken. I mean, we can't criticize it too much. He's had a strong game here so far at 2-2-6, but I wonder if this all-in basic attack focus is going to be the play.
It's a different way to play Amaterasu. Most Amas will build CDR with MP5 so you can spam your aura switch, get the sustain. It has 220 self-healing plus the scaling percentage as well.
Any chance this is Frostbound that he's working on here now? I mean, I suppose that would be along the same line of thought, but you just think you'd want Blackthorn in that spot, right?
Blackthorns makes more sense because of the cooldown and the MP5 you get
Yeah.
once you do dip into the low mana category. But with this build, you never really know, honestly. iceicebaby, not really known for being too creative in terms of his jungle build.
I would say it's more like his decision-making, like where he gets unique. He picks some weird spots.
Yeah, but this is an interesting time to do it. I think I kind of like Frostbound. If you can catch Olorun out of position, where is he going to go? He's forced to literally beat your basic attack.
Yeah, I can't believe he didn't get an into Tabi with this build that he's gone so
True.
far. He went the Warrior Tabi instead, but we'll get a chance to see a little bit later how how iceicebaby chooses to round out this build.
It is a Frostbound.
That's toxic, man. It really is, isn't it? I wouldn't want to play against that. Stone cutting and Igvile and Frostbound. You're not getting away.
Yeah, and he has sprint.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. He's gonna upgrade it and have haste. Oh
You'll
no,
love
dude.
to see it.
That's toxic. I don't want to deal with it at all. Splyce grouping up on the right-hand side, but they are slightly in the lead. This is a dead even game, man. 25, 26 minutes in. Anyone could take this match. Remember how quickly eUnited burned that Fire Giant last time? Splyce have to be here to make sure it doesn't get stuck in a way. But Aror, blinking in, takes to the horse as well. I guess this fight's starting now as he stuns iceicebaby.
And also forcing out the beats in the sky, gonna be SOT!
From BigManTingz blows him up. iceicebaby is rezzed by Khepri. It's a big fight for eUnited here so far, and they're going to re-engage as Benji's just finished off with that Jormungandr ultimate. Scream comes in, finds two-man stun, though, and that does lower eUnited a good bit.
The frenzy being used, Callus getting low, already eliminated Benji with no World Serpent and no life.
Scream forces everyone else back and then still has enough damage to shred down Khepri. They also collapse onto Benji. Splyce are low, though. They can't comfortably start the FG as BigManTingz almost finds another kill.
They're using the Aura to be able to get closer. Hieroglyphic Assault takes out CycloneSpin.
They are able to keep their turret in range, right?
Go back in. Big man, go back in.
He's got enough damage at this point. I don't know how you avoid it. Dash it aggressively, and he finds the evade and punish. BigManTingz is a monster on this Thoth. He finally gets shut down as Scream gets the double. Hits him with a little bit of the VEL as well for fun.
Splyce setting up a great trap from the left and the right side, expecting that evade and punish. Because of the second and third miss of the Hieroglyphic Assault, he committed to that evade and punish just to get the guaranteed kill. But I don't think eUnited loses out much from that sacrifice. If anything, they just delayed the next Fire Giant dance.
That's about all that it will be. I doubt Splyce will be able to significantly come in and grab that. So instead, they'll slow down for a moment. Scream did exactly as you expected, though. Bloodforge and the Heartseeker coming to round out his build as if he's not doing enough damage here at this point with some of the plays that he has. Venenu still has yet to die, I believe, in the set. 4-0-9, and he's up near the top of the player damage charts as well as that last Fury drops in favor of Splyce. And Staff of Myrmidon coming in next for him?
Messenger's Mask was sold, so he's working on this item. So once you do switch your stance, now you're going to be dropping 2 abilities. But it has to be timed very well because stance switchers struggle with those Arthurian items.
I agree. RDO can sometimes waste her Pridwin proc, you know, something like that. And then the same here for Venenu. He's going to make sure he's not just changing stance to the stance that he wants 2 abilities in, but that the timing is when he wants them as well. This is a powerful item, but it can be a bit hard to use, and it's all power and a little bit of CDR.
I'm trying to think what he's going to choose. Maybe he'll go into double Arcane, so he can get double pulls, double fire just for more dragon fire.
Maybe, you know, maybe we're thinking about this wrong. Maybe there is no bad answer, and it doesn't matter. Whichever stance you're in, two abilities from it
double
feels
blizzards.
pretty good.
Double Blizzard just for control, but without Gem of Isolation, you lose the value of double Blizzards. Double Ice Bolts isn't too bad.
Benji is in the front line. He's taking some extra damage, forced into the ultimate early on, and he will start to engage with it. Let's see if iceicebaby looks to follow up. He certainly does. There's the dazzling offensive. Amaterasu immunes the entire thing, and they gobble CycloneSpin up. Benji in the backline too, but Venenu has found his way to iceicebaby. Scream's found his way to emilitoo. A double kill now for Venenu as Benji falls as well, and suddenly eUnited were forced into biting off too much.
Ooh, Scream narrowly gonna avoid that one. Blinking into the backline is Aror, sticking onto BigManTingz. No cavalry charge though, and I'm surprised that emilitoo, as he was in that Fire Giant pit with the Scarab's Blessing, doesn't attack the Fire Giant. He should have been able to proc that Scarab's Blessing to get the revive. Instead, Scream had a small window to get the Fatal Strike off.
And Fire Giant now being pulled by Splyce is just Khalees here, and his steal potential is basically 0. A little bit higher than that, but not by much. He's stunned, in danger of dying more than anything else, as this Fire Giant push is quite slow. He's buying time for BigManTingz to get here with the Hieroglyphic Assault, and now this has suddenly changed. Tingz certainly could steal this away, and they do. eUnited, they get the Fire Giant. Splyce took too long. It's a deicide though on the back end, so it's not too bad.
I don't think that was actually Big Man stealing it.
Yeah.
I really think it was the Solar Flare, or the Rising Dawn rather, to steal it away. What a play from a Khepri support. And he was getting absolutely poked out by Scream's Achilles.
Yeah.
And still, he's like, I'm gonna make this play happen.
Was that Frenzy available and they just didn't use it? There's no, it must have just come off cooldown because their DPS was so slow on the Fire Giant. They gave Khalees way too much respect.
Well,
maybe they didn't know where Tingz was?
CycloneSpin was dead, so without the Olorun DPS, that Fire Giant takes a little bit longer to secure. Venenu's damage is still respectable though, but definitely took a while.
Benji forced into the ultimate yet again. That's what set up for that big Fire Giant fight for Splyce last time, was them forcing this ultimate early, and SoloOrTroll takes to the sky. This is to confirm the tier 2 tower for Splyce, and it does indeed work. They grab that structure.
Not expecting them to go for the Phoenix without the Fire Giant buff. A great sacrifice from eUnited. Both Big Man and Khalees negates the pushing power from Splyce.
That's such a big play, man. It slows down their push so much. I mean, you already talked about how reliant they are on CycloneSpin's damage on these structures, on these jungle bosses as well, like the Fire Giant. And without that Fire Giant buff, they're going to be even more so reliant on him. This push has been significantly slowed down.
It definitely has. SoloOrTroll with a very interesting Hide of Urchin pickup. It's something that Benji picked up in the last game that I didn't make mention of because of the struggles from eUnited. But now with Splyce controlling these team fights, 20-13, that's stacked. So it's only about 4 more remaining. Should be completed soon.
I don't know who the front line is for eUnited, though. Benji's build is very damage-oriented. He's kind of barely getting much tankiness out of that one. Obviously, neither is iceicebaby, as he's being shredded by Scream. In fact, he might have thrown his life away. He certainly has. Venenu unstoppable, 7-0 and 10. And that's kind of to my point. I don't know who can sustain much damage from Splyce.
Yeah, this is not going to be a good look for eUnited's front line. It's not only Benji, it's also iceicebaby, like you pointed out with his build. So that kind of trap that Splyce has set up, United are just not prepared for it. Like, they think they're safe because, oh, I'm Amaterasu, so I have all this movement speed. But if you're going to be pushing that deep where you don't have vision, you're just asking to get 4 or 5 player ganked.
5v4 now favoring Splyce. iceicebaby 30 seconds away. There's the frenzy popped, so Aror blinks in immediately. SOT took to the sky as well. Aror quite low, but that's a big stun that comes out to buy him some time. Final Judgment comes through, but that's a good Scarab's Blessing to keep one more target alive. They save emilitoo, but it cost them the middle Phoenix.
I love the way Venenu flickers away from that Final Judgment because it was inside the Sanctified Field. It was very slow. It connects onto SoloOrTroll, but then every backliner was very safe to go one way or the other. So Middle Phoenix does finally fall. Splyce gets that one as eUnited's Titan now is a little vulnerable.
I'm starting to wonder if a Merlin ban might be in the cards. It may not look like it, but I think that Venenu has been a monster this set, man. What a performance from him. 7-0 and 10. He's got this Staff of Myrmidon working for him as well. And they just can't get back there to stop this damage.
They definitely can't. Their front line from Splyce is obnoxious to deal with. The Blink from Scream, the Anvil of Dawn from SoloOrTroll, even the Blink from Aror is Cavalry Charge. They're forcing so many different abilities. Once the Blink happened from Scream, emilitoo dive bombs away. He's not in position to stop the backline from even dropping the Suns.
And remember, that was without the Fire Giant buff because eUnited valiantly stole that one away. And now they're taking a fight out, pushed up. Khalees blows up immediately. No Scarab's Blessing this time, fellas. They don't even need the execute. emilitoo dive bombs up, but SoloOrTroll suddenly now here as well. Dazzling offensive on cooldown from iceicebaby as Final Judgment finds CycloneSpin, but there's no one to help out emilitoo. That's 2 for 0.
And that's going to be Splyce chasing them down, potentially utilizing some of the heals that they have. Scream blinks in, stuns out Benji.
No ultimate available for this Jormungandr Tolly, so I don't see a way Benji makes it out, even with the Aegis. The Mantle of Discord proc is there, but it's not enough. Scream gets 7 in a row, and that might just be it. iceicebaby and Tingz have to keep all of Splyce at bay.
eUnited tried to set up a trap, but Splyce were well prepared for that one. eUnited caught slipping, and now they're going to be down 2 games in this set.
Splyce moving into the Titan room. iceicebaby and BigManTingz have got to find something magical if they want to defend, but they can't do it. Splyce not only take down iceicebaby, but they take the set as well. They're up 2-0.
Now, to be fair to eUnited, it looked way better for them in the second game because of Big Man's Thoth as opposed to the first game. But that middle Phoenix Siege out of them was just a little bit more to be desired. The way they all grouped up against the Merlin, they couldn't disengage from the Thor Anvil of Dawn either.
Yeah, it feels like the early game is not the problem from them. It's when they have to group up into these 5-on-5s where their decision-making isn't there. It's like they're not gelling at this point.
And that was a 5-on-4 because they took out CycloneSpin earlier on in that Phoenix Siege in the left side mid camps, and then they also poked out SoloOrTroll, but not respecting Venenu's Merlin. You're totally right. There might be a Merlin ban coming up.
I'm thinking so, man. Venenu has played out of his mind so far on it, but really all have Splyce have Scream, playing Pele and Achilles. You can't ban those things away either, right? I mean,
glass cannon builds as well.
That's exactly right. He's all glass cannon. I mean, when Splyce play like this, it's hard for anyone to beat them. We'll see if maybe eUnited can get that done in Game 3, though, after the break.
INAP, powering the control room for the SMITE Pro League.
Welcome back to the SMITE Pro League. It's Thursday and we're already 2 games deep into the set between Splyce and eUnited. But Splyce have taken the first 2 games. It's been very kill heavy, however, and to break down that game with me is going to be Zeros. As always, Zeros, a lot of deaths, a lot of fighting in that game. BigManTingz had a great performance in the Thoth, but it wasn't good enough.
No. I mean, there's bound to be a lot of kills when Screamers and Achilles and plays the way he did, like, Jesus.
And with that being the case, like, he just had a knock-on effect as the game went on. So much fighting going on between the two, and with everything actually happening there at the moment too. Just sorting out his game. He'll get used to it one day. But yeah, this matchup between the two was built to be an exciting one. I looked at the builds from eUnited here, and I want to talk about those a little bit. These actual build options that eUnited went for, very damage-focused. Even the Jormungandr and the Amaterasu both focus on physical damage. Sorry, on dealing damage rather than survivability. But here's a little look back at some of the plays. Scream, though, he also went for the damage option.
He had a lot of damage in the build, and he did a lot of damage too, and he got...
We were laughing about that in the back, man.
Yeah, so what a performance from him, honestly. I feel like every time he's on Achilles, he has like a monster performance. I don't know if he got ranked as this game, if he sold boots for it or whatever, last item, but...
I don't think he got to that point,
yeah, he probably would have.
Yeah, and with how he went, and I was just talking about it, Heartseeker and then Bloodforge with the two of his final items. That's 140 power on its own.
Yeah.
This man, though, BigManTingz, I think his Thoth gameplay is almost, I'm going to say this politely, almost rivaling yours, my friend. Like,
probably better at this point, to
he's
be fair.
getting up there, to be honest. Doom-Orb, though, is a start option here. We see more of this Doom-Orb.
Yeah.
Thoth with it is good, I guess.
Yeah. Back when I played Thoth, like before Boomba's nerf, I loved Boomba's. Like, movement speed on Thoth is so good because you can play way more aggressive when you have the movement speed. And Doom-Orb kind of does the same thing, not as much as old Boomba's, but it's still really good item on Thoth.
Yeah, extra bit of mobility. You saw a little bit of a death there. I appreciate the scream laugh spam here.
I
Callus, this fight, I don't even know. Why is no one securing this, boys? I'm a bit upset if you're a Splyce fan. If you're an eUnited fan, though, you're impressed that Callus on his own with Rising Dawn steals this. Watch BigManTingz. He don't fire a shot. He dashes into his death, just so you know. But he did the celebration because he didn't expect his teammate to get it with a Rising Dawn.
Yeah, I was sitting saying, just get out,
Yeah.
leave it. There's no point. Like, but then I guess he had trust in stealing it with the Khepri too, so...
sometimes you feel it as a support. Sometimes we're like, you know what, I can get this one. Game 2 down and in the bag, and then there's a look at the stat line at the end: 13, 3, and 8. A lot of the plays came through Scream here on this Achilles. I don't think it was all Achilles though. I think a lot of this was SoloOrTroll, Aror setting things up, burning a couple of these relics to allow him in.
Venenu as well. What a performance for him. Wow, he didn't die once, I think. Perfect KDA. He had Spear of Magus this game as well.
Yeah.
Really loved that. As I said last game, in combination, when you have a magical ADC like Olorun, you have Demonic Grip, you have Spear of Magus, they have so much damage on objectives, tanks, everything.
And now eUnited find themselves down 2 games with only 3 more remaining, meaning they're going to win every single one of these to find the set victory. Otherwise, they'll be taking their 3rd loss of Phase 2. And Splyce, well, they're almost going to go from that one performance against Renegades where they lost in Week 3. They may just go the rest of the split without being beaten until the World Championships.
Yeah, for sure. To be fair, I think Splyce just looks like a better team today. Because like last game, I think eUnited had a really good comp.
They did.
To counter Olorun as well. And like, they played pretty well, but I don't know. As soon as you get to like team fight and playing the map, it just looked like Splyce is better.
Kind of felt like they kind of played it a little bit into Splyce's hands with this Achilles being able to do so much damage towards Amaterasu and of course Jormungandr, because they both went for damaging builds, which is great for burst. But then again, it can always be turned around back against you.
I think the damage on Jorm, though, I actually like that, even from the solo lane, because most damage you do is from your ultimate anyway, right? You're not really in the front line tanking on Jorm, so going a lot of damage on Jorm, I don't mind. The Amaterasu build could probably have been a little bit more bruisery, so you could tank a little bit more.
Yeah, it was very, very much focused on auto-attack focus in that build too. Splyce them are going to be 1st pick this time. eUnited have chosen to go 2nd pick. So this means a couple of Splyce's options in that support role open up. I guess if you let him, you try and bat away his gods and they still win, you might as well try something different. So eUnited are going to take the 2nd pick option, ban away Persephone so far. Ice is to follow, set still available. Yeah.
It's interesting for United here. Are they going to ban the Herc or are they just going to let it through? Because like Aror's been performing really well on whatever he plays anyway. So maybe they just let the Herc through. I think they're going to live to regret it. But we'll see.
Well, with that too. Thinking about it, we were talking about Jormungandr. You were the big proponent of Jorm in mid lane, so talking about magical damage builds, I'm not surprised you were a fan of those. Thor banned away by Splyce this time, recognizing that iceicebaby does have that to his god pool if he needs to. But I think we'll see a set ban here, and we will. Splyce 1st pick Hercules, or did you leave it up?
I'm not sure if they first pick it, because I don't think they're afraid of eUnited. Maybe Benji plays it in solo, but I don't think they're too worried about eUnited playing it. They could just 1st pick it though to make sure Aror gets it.
Definitely worried about maybe 1st picking it for solo as well, just because, Benji playing in solo, he's not going to have a fun match against SoloOrTroll. Olorun is the 1st pick.
Olorun's so good. I really hope to see. emilitoo played Morrigan the 1st game. Wasn't that great, but I just want to see Vamana Morrigan here, man.
You demand it at this one. You're definitely on that train of like, you've seen this pick work so well against Olorun, having the Vamana and the Morrigan. First of all, though, Amaterasu was available. I appreciate this pick from United.
For sure. Amaterasu Morrigan works too, right? It's like kind of the same, not as good as Vamana, I think, but it should be enough. I just want to see a Morrigan with this.
Well, let's see if eUnited look for that. It's going to be the Merlin, so looking to take something away from Venenu.
Yeah.
Understandable with his performances.
Pretty smart, I agree. He's been doing so well. It's so hard, kind of hard to play against as well, because it's hard to punish him in mid, like the flickering of Merlin is so hard to punish him. He just dashes away, so yeah.
Well, Hercules being hovered. eUnited knew they were going to have to deal with it if they didn't pick it in that 1st phase. And it will be locked in. Speed buff invade at the start of the game, is that what we're expecting from this?
I think so, but there's kind of a new jungle meta now where you start full boots, which makes it a lot more risky for supports to go for that invade early, because like you run a big chance of just going in there and dying, right?
Yeah.
Because you can start rank 2 boost, that's normal what the supports do. They do rank 2 boost with a health chalice and a lot of health pots, but if the jungler comes out of base with full boost, even the mid laner starts full boost now. He's not getting away from that.
That's true. Tier locked in for Splyce, though. SoloOrTroll has a very good tier in his god pool.
Yep.
Him and Variety be very happy about the next patch that's going to hit just before the World Championships, with the Blue Stanks knockup being available. But eUnited immediately going to answer back with an Ares picking that. And you know what, Zeros, I really love this Ares against Hercules and Tier.
Yeah, for sure. Kalas, probably the premier Ares player in the whole league as well. Really good against Tyr, as you mentioned, and Hercules. Pretty good against Olorun too. He doesn't have a CC immune ult or anything like that, so he will force his beats every time. Thing with Olorun though, Ares blinks in ult, Olorun drops the ult, and they can just blow him up. Yeah,
because the extra speed that Olorun gets from that, and at the same time, Ares is just going to hover in the air like a sitting duck. Back to the counterban phase we go. Raven banned out by eUnited. We've not seen too much Raven as of late, but it is something Scream has gone to before. Achilles is still on the table. I'm not sure if they're going to go for with a third warrior though here, Splyce, already having Hercules and Tian drafted.
They could go for 3 warriors, I think, as long as they get another mage in the mid lane here. Unless, you never know, it could be Olorun mid as well.
You're right.
Probably Cyclone on it though, he's been playing so well on it, but it could be Olorun mid and they could look for another mage in the duo lane. I think Achilles will be fine, because all Achilles, Tyr, Hercules all have a lot of CC, so they won't have a Guardian, but they won't be lacking CC anyway, so...
Poseidon banned by eUnited here, just trying to focus a little bit on what Venenu might try and bring to that middle lane area. Chiron won't be a terrible pick with that cleanse up against the Tier, and I do know Venenu can pull that out if required here. Yeah. Anhur banned by Splyce too, focusing towards BigManTingz. That Thoth is still available. Is that a potential pick here, Thoth, in this matchup? With how it's looking?
Yeah, I mean, I guess either team could pick Thoth if they want to.
Right.
I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess emilitoo's been playing a lot of Thoth, and like, he's really good in laning phase, right? And then like, emilitoo has been struggling a little bit. Like, even the Hu game, it looked like Cyclone got the better of him in lane, so maybe giving him such a strong lane as Thoth could be good for United.
It's a good point, because we mentioned the Thoth last game. We thought that was going to be for emilitoo, but it ended up going towards Big Man in the middle lane. Iceice's going to go with the Batz though, so 2 big beads burners for United here. Fear No Evil and the No Escape from the Aror. He's really going to try and force some of these CCMU ults from Hercules or Tier, and then also have a very good time in getting rid of any of the beads relics.
Yeah, this is really good from United. You have Batz to force beads, you have Ares to force beads, even Amaterasu with her ult can force beads, so they have so much bead force on the team. So like when you play a character like Olorun that has no CC immune to his ultimate, he could really get punished here.
Could be a big problem then, but CycloneSpin should be able to circumvent those avenues if you can. Back to Splyce. 2 more picks remaining. This will give us an idea of where this Olorun's going to go, because it could be towards that middle area. Still probably looking for a jungler here in Scream, and Scream's going to be looking for a hyper carry in Mercury. We see Mercury on occasion, but we don't see him all the time. Is it certain situations that he's good for?
I feel like it's been like adapting mostly playing Mercury throughout that spell, and I don't know if anyone else played it that much, but like adapting as a really good Mercury. But as I said earlier, with junglers starting full boost now, with Mercury passive, full boost on Mercury should be insane level 1, so...
That's a good point. And a Hera, hello! I've not seen Hera in forever!
Yeah.
What do you think about Hera? You played mid?
When I scrimmed, when I was playing back in duo lane, I played some Hera in duo lane.
Right.
She's actually really good. She has a surprisingly good laning phase. She's kind of safe as well, because you got this hybrid item like Pyfag, you can even go Jade Empress if you need. And she's so good late game. I think she's kind of underrated right now. I love to see her here.
Would you like to see her in the mid lane in this comp, or would you rather see her in the duo? Because you've got the Olorun too, and I think both of them could be a bit more comfortable in the duo lane, I'd say.
That's a hard question. I think probably Olorun mid here. I think he has a little bit more pressure than Hera. And he also has his big ult for when he gets initiated on by Ares. I think they can do more with the Olorun mid, while I think Hera would also probably do more with farm. I think Hera could get punished harder in mid than Olorun can.
I actually think Splyce, Olorun and Hera, that third ability for both of those characters is going to be so important up against this lineup United have, because Hera struggles a little bit for CC immunity herself. She's got Argus, so she's going to put an extra person on the battlefield to block some of these shots. I don't know. I think United, I'm favouring United, even though Splyce have gone a little bit, unusual with this Hera pick here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's super risky though, because both the carries no CC immunity in their kits at all, and they're against so much hard CC. Like, if you get hit by any of those CCs, you're dead pretty much. So, really risky, but I just think Splyce will look better today, so I just think they're going to take it.
I can understand that point of view too. Can Splyce close this out in 3 games, or will eUnited bounce back? Let's get it over to the casters.
Thanks, Hindu. Thanks, Zeros. Finch and Anatoly here again as Splyce gears up to close the set out, and eUnited gear up to try and drag this to a 4th game. And of course, some spice comes out. It's the Splyce of life. It's the joke I'm trying to make here. It's going to be the Hera for Venenu in the middle lane. CycloneSpin sticking with the Olorun.
And it's also the Hercules on Aror. eUnited were so frustrated with some of the other picks that they needed to get rid of Persephone, Isis, and Set being the 2nd pick, trying to switch things up to the point where, all right, Aror, get your 11th Hercules out of 23 games. We'll let you have it.
They let Aror have it. He could be such a dominating force in the early game with this Hercules pick, so United have to be ready to play around it. One thing to note, look at all these blinks from Splyce. I mean, I know this is how they play. They love to be aggressive, but this is a control-heavy draft from United. this level 1 to 12 is going to be really, really difficult for Splyce.
Yeah, I wouldn't blink into that if I was Aurora when there's an Ares and also the Merlin just on standby guard duty, but instead he's just going to strip away the red buff, I think.
It looks like he won't stick around for that either. We're going to blink on the Tings and get his beads first. Ironic that with all the control at eUnited's disposal, it's them who lose their beads first in this encounter. But Aurora doesn't really find much at all. He can't go to red buff. He ends up just coming in and splitting this first wave with Venenu.
Now, it's all about the counter rotation. Can Scream now make this rotation to punish the no beads from Big Man? We saw how successful Venenu was on the Merlin because there was no pressure onto him early game. But eUnited are getting pressured on their Merlin picks, Splyce recognizing where the true strength lies.
And it looks like both these teams are going to be using that build that we saw, or both these mid laners from games 1 and game 2. The cooldown boots into that cursed aura, but hold on, we have some aggression on the left-hand side early. Khepri has been pushed in, stuck inside the damage from CycloneSpin. And he doesn't need much more, but makes it back out of there. But it's Scream elsewhere who finds first blood onto iceicebaby in the middle lane.
No blink, so I guess he just got caught out without somersault. As a level 2 Hunt Batz, you want to get your overhand smash and your sacred monkey toss. Can we take a look at what iceicebaby is leveling out of curiosity? That he is level 2. Yeah. Actually, still...
No leap, yeah.
Yeah, no leap. So, very easy confirmed kill.
Not tough, not that bad, especially like you said, without the beads available to him. They've gone blink this game. And it's Splyce who this early have made better use of that lack of CC immunity. Now, that will change heavily once level 5 start coming around when eUnited have the tools to punish. But Splyce might not even let them comfortably get there.
Aror trying to set up CycloneSpin in any way he can. And let's see what happens. iceicebaby is walking up. The blink into it as well, so a very easy confirmed kill. No beads, no somersault, easy kill.
Not bad, as they are indeed able to find that first blood there in the middle lane with Scream. As you said, it kind of looked clinical from him, didn't it? Just kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. He will indeed be going back to Talaria boot start. But of all 3 of the gods he's played, I think it makes the most sense here on the Mercury.
It definitely does, and this is why Xing is so good against Hercules. The pull makes it so much easier to deal with when you could just agility away. SoloOrTroll not able to strip away the blue buff. And just talking about that first blood, a Splyce should be able to confirm this red buff invade. It was BigManTingz without his beads, as it was procced by Aurora earlier on, was so far back that he felt he was going to be safe. And iceicebaby's mentality was like, well, they're probably thinking about Big Man considering that his beads are down, so he felt a little bit too comfortable, probably.
Yeah, everyone got stuck into that mentality of how do we protect Tings in this spot, and iceicebaby turned into a target on the back end. That is now the red buff invade for Splyce as well on that left-hand side, and really there wasn't much eUnited could do about it. I think this is why the Hercules is banned against Splyce. So far, the early game has been eUnited's strength, and Splyce have answered back well in that grouping in the 5v5s, the big team fights. Now Splyce are the ones running the early.
And I wanted to kind of point out the way Scream engaged there with the Blink 180 special delivery.
Right.
When you're against a target that doesn't have beads, you don't have to be that fancy. You can literally just blink in front of them, not even have to move your mouse, and get the guaranteed special delivery. But Scream, I guess, just wanted to show off.
Just wanted to have a little bit of fun there, show that he could have pulled him back that way if need be. But in that case, it wasn't necessary. SoloOrTroll, let's talk about him later, as here comes Argus with the diamond skin on, looking good. Khepri pulled back to the wolves, and Venenu continues his hot streak, taking out Khepri here in the middle lane with a ton of help from Scream and Aurora.
It just seems that Splyce are playing around Venenu's picks a lot more than eUnited are around Big Man's picks, right? Like, playing Hera, you're generally not safe, but you are safe when you have a Mercury and a Hercules right beside you.
And you're right, it felt like BigManTingz had to brute force a lot of his highlight reel plays, didn't he? Had to hit freehand final judgments, as I think emilitoo might just be dead. No, he gets away from the driving strike. I think that CycloneSpin Aurora a bit off sync there. I don't think CycloneSpin had to do the knockup.
No, definitely not, but I think that Aurora could have definitely caught the agility midway through. The timing was so close. He was expecting the agility, mistimed it by even a quarter second, but still sets up Splyce for a secondary red buff invade.
Gonna take a look at it, willing to commit the Sanctified Field here to try and grab the invade. They don't get the actual buff, but Khepri is quite low. Scream goes in for the special delivery, but Fear No Evil is there for the peel that he needs. Scream still gets it by making Khepri look. Now he's got to avoid the shots from emilitoo, dodges the airstrike, and he's out of there.
And the Excavate gonna go down the right side. Aurora should still be fine. He's looking for the pull, doesn't find his CycloneSpin. A little bit off the mark. Ice ducking for cover. So getting the red buff, killing Callus, and narrowly escaping death is Scream. Splyce playing perfect in Game 3.
They have been playing so well, really the entirety of this set. And Splyce are the tightrope walkers of the SPL. They take these really close fights that they have confidence in themselves to execute. And now Scream rotating over. I don't know if eUnited recognize they might be in danger, but instead, Scream gives it up.
Going to be pretty safe thus far. Splyce not interested in starting Gold Furies. With all the invades they've got on eUnited's side of the map, they have a lot to get for themselves, right? Red buff and purple buff just now stripped away, and you can't forget about your own buffs, because this early on, your enemy buffs are not worth as much compared to yours with that hidden mechanic.
SoloOrTroll back on his signature tier. I was going to bring this up earlier before Splyce set off a bunch of fireworks in middle lane, like in Mulan or something. They had a great showing there. But tier for SoloOrTroll is one of his big comfort picks. He makes a lot of highlight reel plays on this. Auror's on Hercules, his comfort pick. I mean, it really feels like Splyce got a lot of what they wanted in this draft.
Definitely going to be the case for SoloOrTroll this game. Comfort, comfort, comfort against the late game Amaterasu. So as a tier, you're not getting pressured out anyway. Your power cleave heals for so much. I love the Mage's Blessing pickup, kind of taking a page out of Julio's book,
sure.
The Soul Laner for Queso, and this gives you the 10% CDR you want, the crazy amount of MP5 after you spam all of your abilities anyway.
This time, eUnited will be able to defend their own red buff. Excavate a little bit too late there from Aror, but I like the idea to try and strip that one away. He does that, I would say, more often than not, and does succeed with that.
I mean, if his goal is to stop you at level 1, yeah, he's going to drop a boulder here at level 6 just for your red buff invade. It's the little things that matter. But now no CC immunity is going to get pulled back in.
Right into the Fear No Evil, all the damage, but a 3-man ultimate from Scream shuts everything down. They've turned that back around. Callus, no chance that he escapes. That is such a nuts ultimate from Scream. He's had a monster performance, man.
CycloneSpin now in a 1v1 emilitoo, going to agility away from the Sanctified Field. CycloneSpin should be safe with Scream coming around the corner. Blink is available.
I don't know if emilitoo recognizes it. He does not have beads. He does have the ultimate, but that's only if he's not already in the CC chain, and now it might be too long. CycloneSpin's right there waiting for him, but he comes down, and CycloneSpin gets the kill. That's 4 now across the map they've got.
They haven't given up a single death as well.
Wow.
I like the play from eUnited, abusing the fact that Auror's Excavate was down, meaning no CC immunity. Callus guaranteed gets a pull, but the intangibles, Splyce were 2 to 3 steps ahead of eUnited. Anticipating that play was Scream. Lands the nuttiest Sonic Boom I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And the turnaround play.
Yeah, if you're back there doing replays, go ahead and put that down in the top play folder. We'll be calling for that later on, I imagine. And it's Erendite early for Scream as well. His first item after boots. And Mercury's already so fast. He's going to be zooming now.
Yeah, can we take a look at this item? Because it gives you 65 power, a little bit of CDR, and then that extra mobility after you hit somebody. Looking at the Erendite from Scream's Mercury, though, it's a solo lane.
It's emilitoo. He had a gank over there from Scream, so it certainly goes to show just how strong they're looking now. But yeah, the Erendite here for Scream.
And that's 30% movement speed that you're gaining. And that's power as well from the Mercury passive. All that movement speed is transitioned to extra damage.
And we're sure that he'll be able to get that procced pretty often, as Splyce have had control over this game so far. And I thought that taking away the Merlin would help them, but it looks like they had to give up a little bit too much to make that happen here by giving up this Hercules for Aror. He's played so well on it. And I talked about Venenu all set, but I mean, Scream, it's not just that play he made in the Sonic Boom. I mean, the Achilles as well. I mean, Splyce plays so well all 5 players.
Yeah, and Splyce's draft, outside of the Hercules, every other pick is not their go-to pick. Like, they can have CycloneSpin play something other than the Olorun. Like, he's played Anubis against SK Gaming, right? Like, SoloOrTroll doesn't rely on the tier. He's played so many other gods at a very high level.
Yep.
When's the last time we see Hera even being played in general, right? Like, Scream playing the Mercury is a nice little touch.
emilitoo's been pulled back in. He still doesn't have beads for another 15 seconds, but can agility away on the back end of that special delivery. So not too much trouble, but that's yet another purple buff invade, and this is one of the biggest early leads we've had this set.
And so where I was going with that conversation was the fact that Splyce didn't necessarily outdraft eUnited in this game 3. They were just heavily outplaying them.
I think so too, and it's tough to play against them. I mean, Scream has played 3 picks now in a row that are not particularly popular. The Pele, the Achilles, and the Mercury. I mean, you're not banning those in this current meta that we're in right now. The Venenu, Merlin is certainly one that you can take away, but not Hera. I mean, they've made it hard to draft against them.
And he's still building the same way that he was on the Merlin anyway, is the movement speed, the Cursed Orb into the Doom Orb. It's a lot of power. Once you get those 5 stacks, you're sitting at 165 power.
Sonic Boom yet again, and Benji stuck in the CC chain. I don't even know that he got to touch the ground or hit any buttons. Benji has taken his first spill of the game.
Talk about, you know, knock-up after knock-up after knock-up, the Sonic Boom Dizzy effect, the Tier Fearless, the Hercules driving strike, and I like this Tier Hercules combination. It reminds me of the D3 Mighty Ducks Bash Brothers.
CycloneSpin might finally be in some trouble. No, what am I saying? He has turnaround potential. Kyle's on his way. He absolutely needs to be here. A good blink from iceicebaby gets CycloneSpin out of range, and eUnited finally get on the board.
Not able to find the pole is Aror. CycloneSpin was one basic attack away from finding that kill, but needing to pull every resource deep in their pockets was eUnited just for their very first kill in 11.5 minutes of play.
And it took all 3 of them, man. I don't think they would have gotten it if it had just been the 2 that initially ganked. Cyclone turned that one around in a pretty big way and almost got that extra pick on the ice were it not for that blink. And still has beads available the next time they come over to say hello. So that will not be an easy gank for them.
And unfortunately for eUnited, they can't really get anything from that one pick. They can push the wave and then, you know, use that opportunity to camp between Tier 1, Tier 2, expecting the all-around rotation, but not going that way. Instead, going through the jungle. Scream gonna spot that out, and eUnited's trap identified.
Aror can't find anything with the driving strike, but special delivery on the iceicebaby. Still no beads. Finds a big crit, and he's already low. Sonic Boom charged up. They might not even need it if Aror could find the lockdown. Excavate certainly gets that job done, and now Argus is here to say hello as they lock down Callus.
Callus needs to use that no escape, but he doesn't. He gets Sonic Boomed. Aror with a double kill. Splyce feeling really good. Gonna start the Gold Fury.
If he would have had to have the read that some CC was coming to know to go into the no escape, and looks like he didn't. Gold Fury at half HP, and eUnited can't even come contest this. This is not like how the other 2 games have gone at all. Splyce with a firm grasp on this game.
Yeah, I like eUnited's attempt of trying to set up a trap, but Splyce naturally just avoided it, right? Like, CycloneSpin was going up the mid lane, not even the long lane, because I think he wanted to get the mid-camp farm anyway, and Scream was right around that corner, so he saw where Callus was, where emilitoo was. eUnited's time wasn't spent well in that exchange, and with how deep they were, they couldn't get back into safety.
Benji is able to dash on out of there, though I doubt this level 14 Ama was in that much trouble. But in games 1 and 2, I thought eUnited looked like they just weren't quite gelling properly. This Pyromancer starts up by Splyce. They are going to stop this before anyone gets here. That's theirs. But in this game, I don't know if it's a gelling issue. They're just getting outplayed, it feels like this time, Tully.
It kind of feels like eUnited are mentally checked out, which is surprising because this is a team that's made a couple of reverse sweeps in their history. Like,
right.
The first one was against Space Station Gaming after the first 2 losses that they had. And then against Dignitas in the very last week of phase number 1.
CycloneSpin going aggressive here for emilitoo. He's diving the tower to try and get this kill. Airstrike still available. emilitoo can pick where he'll land on the back end. Sonic Boom being charged. I don't know if Scream wants to use all of that just to get this kill into Emil, but he's certainly considering it, and there's the Sonic Boom for the kill.
Into safety as well, outside of the tower range, but CycloneSpin doesn't want to get that tower, respects eUnited's rotation, and this is the difference between a good team versus an elite team such as Splyce. They find something, they don't give it anything back to their opposition.
An impressive play from Splyce here so far. Venenu has stuck to his build path, as you mentioned earlier. Full Cursed Orb, Messenger's Mask, the Tier 2 Abumbas, and is starting to work on some pen. I think he's shown a slight tendency towards the Divine Ruin, but he might not need it in this matchup. Might just go Spear. Benji could be in trouble, though. He does not have a leap to get over this wall, and Scream has crit that is on its way. Venenu and Aror on the way to this one, too. Aror can't find the pull. That's a good dazzling offensive, and Benji should be out now.
A good reaction from Benji. Keeps his life intact. Fire Giant not being flirted with yet from Splyce. The CycloneSpin still on that left side of the map, but it always feels like once CycloneSpin rotates to the right side of the map, Splyce just pull the game wide open. And with the Fury down for 2.5 minutes, I guess it's still a little bit too early to have an Olorun on the right side at 15 minutes in, but he has plenty of damage now with that Telekind's and might be waiting on the Demonic Grip to pair it up with.
Only a little bit too early. I feel like it was around the 18, 19-minute mark when they rotated over in games 1 and 2, somewhere around there.
So it was 22 in game 1 and then 20 in game 2.
22-20. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're only a few minutes away from doing that play again here soon. I mean, the timer might get pushed up a bit because of how much of a lead they had. They were making those rotations even behind a little bit in game number 2, so ahead, that might push it up.
Yeah, they're doing a great job reading eUnited's tendencies of where they want the action to be and now controlling the vision on the right side. But Callus with a good ward underneath, but this is Splyce now setting up a trap, it feels like.
They've started the Fire Giant. We'll see how eUnited choose to respond. Benji moves in towards Venenu aggressively, wanting to give him his first death of the set. But Argus is there to look for the knock-up. SoloOrTroll has Benji pinned. That's a lot of good damage. But eUnited has stopped the Fire Giant from going down, and emilitoo's getting free farm and left.
A very important split push coming from emilitoo. Gets the tier 1 tower, looking for the tier 2, a Scream, trying to answer back with a Sonic Boom.
Yeah, emilitoo's going to need to dip out of here if Scream does come in. Look for the Sonic Boom, can't find it. And now that the agility has been used, the special delivery is not a bad choice. Beads are there to try and get him out. Aegis buys him some moment, made to look off the mark, and emilitoo might be able to find a critical kill here.
He might be able to. The airstrike not in range. Scream should be able to duck to safety. Misses out on one, but you can't miss the overhand smash.
Aror blinks, emilitoo now dead to make it a 1-for-1 trade. Jungle for long lane player. CycloneSpin drops Sanctified Field. Kallus is stuck inside of a CycloneSpin as beads. That's a double kill for the Olorun. How about instead of having him rotate over, you just bring the fight to long lane?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Why not? Scream, he kind of messed up the gank at first because he cancels the Sonic Boom, and when he recharges it the second time around, emilitoo hears that sound audio cue and reacts to it perfectly, avoids that ultimate. There was still kill potential for Scream, but he misses the mage look. But regardless, Splyce are so far ahead that they at least get 2 players in response to losing their jungler's life.
And instead of the Fire Giant, they're now here right on time for this Fury. Take these Oracles, and then this will be up in about 6 seconds or so. eUnited should have an idea this is happening. There's 2 in mid, but hold on, they might just have a decent collapse here instead. Tingz has been forced to use his beads already, and SoloOrTroll has kill potential. Meanwhile, Aurora's brought Benji underneath the tier 1 tower. That means BigManTingz gonna need some help, and there's none coming. SoloOrTroll picks that one up.
Without ever using his ultimate.
Yeah.
He was holding on to that just in case the flicker was being used. CycloneSpin gonna solo the Oni Fury, why not? Benji gonna get caught under the tier 1 tower, why not?
Bringing him right back towards the rest of the squad. Over the wall comes that ultimate, why not? And SoloOrTroll finds his 3rd kill in a row.
Clean performance and execution. Splyce could never be counted out in games 1 and 2 and behind. And now when they had the lead from the get-go in game number 3, they ran wild with it, never gave anything back to eUnited.
They haven't been playing cleanly. Only 2 deaths. The one that Scream just took in the long lane now was one of them. The other one was on the CycloneSpin. Venenu continues his perfect set here so far. Aror showing why the Hercules gets banned against him normally, and I think y'all are going to need to keep going back to that because he's too good on it. And SOT rotating over for some nice plays on the tier.
Yeah, Splyce just can't get banned out, it feels like, ever.
It does, doesn't
it? Really feels that way. Like, they're banning out these standard gods, like the Isis, Persephone, and Set, and they still get everything they want as Splyce.
Fire Giant low now at half HP. Frenzy's been popped. Sanctified Field is here as well. iceicebaby trying to make his way in. Splyce confirmed the objective, though that was a toss-up. And now they have a pretty decent fight on the back end of it. iceicebaby's been excavated. He's being controlled, and SOT is the one that gets the kill.
I don't think they're satisfied for only one. SOT gonna use that Lawbringer over the wall. Tier 2 tower falls on the left side. emilitoo should be able to get it if no one backs, but it looks like Scream will be that defender.
He wants round 2 here up against emilitoo. This time the Sonic Boom connects, but there's a pretty good knock up there in place, but these crits are no joke, emilitoo. Sorry, buddy. Not gonna win that one twice.
Yeah, there's no way you get out of that one. Talaria boots and Aaron died. That movement speed is obnoxious, but now it's a 4-on-4 on the right.
Benji in the CC chain again. They haven't let this Amaterasu play Smite. Kallus does find a huge no escape, and BigManTingz follows up, so Aror finally falls, but in comes SOT beyond the Phoenix line, and he finds Kha'Las as well.
Could be game, but Splyce playing very safe. Without the DPS from Mercury, Scream on the left side of the map after getting that solo kill, doesn't have that Titan burst damage, so Splyce gonna chip away the Titan's protections and health by getting more towers.
SOT considering going over the wall, and he will with the Lawbringer. iceicebaby goes forward with the Fear No Evil. Venenu hasn't fallen yet, so he doesn't look like he wants to start now, and I don't think he will. He manages to worm his way out of there. SOT and CycloneSpin with the autos takes down iceicebaby for their 21st kill. That's blackjack.
Oh yeah, Scream meanwhile casually gets the tier 2 tower on the left side. Why not over there in the mid lane? SoloOrTroll tried to make a play with the Lawbringer, and I respect that because he didn't have the vision. He didn't expect the eUnited to be on the aggressive, and sometimes you got to be unpredictable when you're behind. So eUnited playing a little desperate now.
Scream lining up for a big sonic boom, but eUnited clear out of that middle lane. Oh, but now they come back in. Scream might find another one. No, how about just blink special delivery into the driving strike? That's not bad either. Excavate off the mark, but sonic boom finds Kha'Las at the very least.
I don't know if they kill Kha'Las though. His ultimate is not available quite yet. Minions now entering Frenzy, being popped.
It has been popped now by Splyce, but they're not ready to push in to the Phoenix just yet, it seems. That Frenzy a bit wasted. They still have Fire Giant for another minute 40, but I mean, what else is there to get? They got everything else on the map except these two Phoenixes.
I mean, this is how eUnited fell into the trap in game number 2, as Benji now trying to make something happen, but he doesn't have the ultimate.
Still does not have the ultimate. Benji gets pushed back towards the rest of Splyce. eUnited somewhat happily taking this fight off the Phoenixes, but this could be risky for them if they're not careful. And if Aror finds a multi-man pull back in, SoloOrTroll uses the Lawbringer, so he still gets controlled by the no escape. And now there could be some trouble. CycloneSpin starting to rotate in, and that's the damage they needed.
The flanking Olorun. Meanwhile, Big Man is preoccupied by Aror, trying to save his own life. It's only Benji and Big Man alive against all 5 Splyce members for their set.
Aror nearly solos BigManTingz as a support this game. Mid-Phoenix should fall here. Right side Phoenix had already fallen. Splyce moving into the Titan room now with a chance to close this set without ever letting eUnited feel like they were in it. Titan still above half health, and dazzling offensive is on Venenu. They want to try and shut him down, but SOT won't let it happen. BigManTingz trying to keep the game alive. He's got himself a double, but the Titan now low. Venenu coming in for more damage, and that does it. Splyce closes out the set.
Venenu, the undying.
That's
2 Merlin games, one last one on the Hera without a single death the entire set. Splyce just looked so clean in that game number 3. So much displacement in their draft. The tier, Hercules, Mercury, and then you got 2 knockups from the Argus, and then the knockup coming through from Cyclone's Olorun was a good way to displace all of eUnited and control them.
CycloneSpin got to play the Olorun, I believe, in all 3 games as well. So he got to kind of get into a rhythm and was clearly very comfortable on that pick. Aror shows why this Hercules is such a priority pick for him. Scream proving that he's unbannable, apparently, because he'll play anything at this point and play it at a lights-out level. Just whatever he wants to play, Scream's going to pick it and look good.
With a very glass cannon build. I love the style that he brought with the Achilles. His mechanics was perfect there with that first kill on the Achilles, with that 180 blink in the Mercury game number 3 to kill the no beads Hunbat. I think that was the play that really shut down the mentality, I think, from eUnited. Once they lost the beads from Big Man, once they lost a life out of iceicebaby.
They got slowed down tremendously. And game 1 and 2, those are much closer to what we just saw here. And eUnited kind of stumbled in the late game a little bit in those mid-game team fights. But here in game 3, it felt like this plane never even got off the ground. Nothing was working for them.
And look at the way they sieged that Phoenix. They reset it once they realized, oh, we just got double pulled by Merlin. We're in a bad spot. Yeah. And that's the difference where eUnited didn't respect that Merlin and they continued that aggression.
It's been really strong here so far for Splyce. A big 3-0 performance over eUnited. So eUnited won't be able to bounce back, but don't worry, we'll have another set coming and the breakdown on this one in just a bit.
Just a bit being right now, faster than you expected to. Joining me in the desk to break down that set. Yes, it's over already, is Zeros. Zeros, what happened?
Well, I think we learned something, that you can't give Aror Hercules, and you can't give Scream anything.
So what do we do about Scream then? What would you do?
I don't know.
Just ban him?
Lose, I guess. I don't know.
Just lose?
Yeah, I suppose.
You were pretty good at that this year, weren't you?
Ah, come on, dude.
I'm sorry. I had to say one. I feel bad because you felt really sad about it. I was hoping you'd give me a comeback. Let's have a little look back, though, at exactly what went on in that set. Overall, 3-0 victory for the boys of Splyce. Venenu in the mid lane on the Hera. It worked out well. He went the very similar build we've seen from him all day so far.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure still if I love the Boombas too, but I mean, it seems to be working out. And then you're playing mid lane, right? You're under farm.
Yeah.
You hate your life. And like movement speed helps out a lot with surviving. So, I mean, I respect it.
You hate your life as a mid laner. With those nukes that we saw from BigManTingz earlier on Thoth, you try to say that mid lane's bad. With how it's played, though, there was a lot of focus on CycloneSpin in that duo lane from both teams a little bit there. Cyclone got some good trades off with the Sanctified Field, but it didn't really work out in favor of eUnited from moment one, it feels like, even at the start of the game.
Yeah, just as I said so many times, like I feel like you need counter picks against Olorun. I mean, they had some decent picks against it, but it wasn't enough. And like Olorun gets going, you can't win teamfights against that character. That's just how it is right now.
And if you're worried about it so much, why are we not seeing it banned, do you think? Is it just because there's other priority bans that have to come before it?
I guess you wanna. There's so many bans against Splyce you wanna do already, like the Hercules which they let through this game, and then there's obviously all the top picks right now that you need to get rid of. So it's just weird, right? But obviously Olorun should probably have gone after they lost 2 games in a row against it.
And these two character players on your screen, Scream and emilitoo. I could just watch fight all day. It wasn't going emilitoo's way for most of today, but the way they were just happy to stand and fight against each other was definitely fun to watch. Good performance from Splyce overall. How are you feeling about their chances at the World Championships now? Because that's what I'm starting to turn my attention to with some of these teams. Splyce are looking really like a potential favourite here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's too early to tell still, but like Splyce looks super consistent for so long. Like, ever since they did the basket change where he started playing, they started doing really well, and then he had to go, and they got the SoloOrTroll instead of Venenu, and like they've been doing well either way. So they've been so consistent. So obviously they're gonna be a big threat at World Championship for all the other teams. Credit
where it's due. If you think about this team, SoloOrTroll came in after the mid-season invitational. They've only lost 1 set against the Renegades, who won the mid-season invitational. Since then, they've defeated every team that's come in front of them. And that's quite surprising when you've had a roster change so late in the season.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
It's a good way of looking at things. Well, we also get to see how PK do a little bit later on this week. But with that one, that's basically the big and tall of that set. But to break it down a little bit more and just have a little word with some of the Splyce players and see how they feel, we've got the interviewers standing by.
We have Venenu and Scream here from Splyce. Congratulations on that dominant win. Scream, I feel like I have to start with you, man. At this point, can you just play whatever you want to and then jungle roll and look that dominant? What's the limit for you?
I don't know. I just find it, I mean, I think that my team helps me play a lot of stuff I want to, and I think that usually if I want to play something, I'm going to be pretty good at it because it's just kind of what I am, you know what I mean? But I just think that my team helps me adjust to it in scrims, and like, as long as I'm being serious when I say like, oh, I want to play this, like, then they usually understand why I want to play it and they understand the strengths of it, so it makes it really easy to play.
It definitely feels like you cannot get banned out because now all of a sudden you're picking the likes of Hera. Talk to me about this Hera pick and why it was so valuable for you in Game 3.
Well, we just kind of picked a character that like I could never die on, like with their dive. Like, I mean, I put 3 points in my 2 to just have like the longer polymorph and then max the shield after, so there's like no chance that I died. It's just like a survivability god that has really good follow-up, and like that game it was just like perfect, like exactly what we needed. And I mean, it kind of hurt the Ares picks because he couldn't just like always blink in and do what he wanted. So yeah.
And how much does Aror help this team? Because like in games 1 and 2, they had to banned everything against them. Like in the first banning phase, almost all 3 bans both games, and it leaves up Olorun for CycloneSpin every game, and you can play the Merlin twice in a row. How much does Aror mean for this squad?
I mean, Auror's a beast for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's one of the big carries for Splyce for sure. Like the gods that he can play, is just like really impactful no matter what he does. So like, it's understandable why people like focus him out and stuff.
Well, thank you guys so much, Venenu and also Scream. Congratulations on your win, and hope to see you guys to be successful at Worlds.
Thank you.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the SMITE Pro League.